Through the prayers of Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Good evening. For those new here, my name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've worked in Orthodox apologetics since 1998 and the founder of NFTU, True Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been in the apologetic space on Facebook since 2016 and on YouTube since 2018. And if you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today, we're going to do a live Q&A session. This one was a bit of a surprise, but we're jumping on. Where you can get your questions answered live, as well as member-requested video reviews. So let's get started. If you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. I'll be taking super chats from the YouTube chat, and if you want your question or comment without super chatting, I will answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. So let's see here. First off, Frontal Municipality starts it off with good evening, everyone. Good evening, and God bless you. We have some interesting news that popped up very, very quickly. I would say this was roughly about what was this? Roughly about 2 hours ago, maybe. Let me see here, maybe an hour. But I am looking for the tweet where it is officially announced, and let's share that. So this was kind of a shock, kind of a surprise. Tuesday surprise. I guess it was Sunday that happened, or Monday, I guess, or is it? I'm feeling like today might be Monday. Okay, my brain's lost. Without a calendar on my wall, my brain is gone. But yeah, I am pretty sure it is Tuesday. So this might happen yesterday, but it probably happened on Sunday. Let me see here. And so officially, Father Peter Heers, who has been kind of floating in Canonical Assembly jail for, I think, like 2 years now, has officially been received into the new calendar of Romanians. Now, as you'll notice, underneath there, I wrote immediately, fantastic. Now we can finally have that debate. A proper debate, I would think, between Father Peter Heers and myself. But this was the shocker. Bada bing. Apparently, we may have the NFTU Orthodox Ethos debate. This could actually happen. And is it possible? I mean, are we going to have the big debate finally with a competent person about the True Orthodox versus World Orthodox situation? Is it possible? I think it is. I think this is, as I said, 2026 is shaping up to be the year of do it. So who knows? This might actually be a thing. So yeah. Well. Okay. So that was the big news. Okay, show's over. Good night. No, I'm kidding. So we're done. We're done with that one. We can go a little deeper into this if we want. So we'll just basically talks about this was on the eve of Three Holy Hierarchs New Style, because the Romanian new calendarists are new calendar. They're kind of, I think they're part of the OCA, is how I understand it. They accepted him as a priest, and so he's coming back to Texas. And I guess he'll be serving there. And so, yeah, there was, I think a lot of people, that really didn't like what he had to say, are going to be taking it sour. Between public orthodoxy and what's that other guy, weepy guy. I forget his name, but in any case, they're going to be really upset with this. And so, but in any case, if he's on the table for a debate with us, I'm down. So I think that's this is good to know that Orthodox Ethos is officially kind of interested in having that debate. So yeah, and we'll see how it goes, and from then on, we will we'll keep you posted if we hear anything. I mean, granted, we probably won't, but in any case, if we do, you never know. So let me stop sharing here, and let's look at the comments. 6-7. Okay, that's the first one I saw. No, Soulmatic says, "Is there a good YouTube video showing a properly done Western Rite liturgy that you can share or describe?" A full liturgy, no, to my knowledge, there have not been, but that's partially because of the Abbey's camera situation. Now, one thing I can recommend is if you go to Father Boniface's YouTube page, which is Father Boniface Arms, you can just type that out and search. Or you can go to my channel and you will see he's in the top channel recommendations there. He's actually doing Western Rite lauds and vespers. So if you get a chance to, if you want to hear how the tones sound, etc., that's a good place to go as any. And you'll be able to hear at least the music until we start seeing liturgies proper. God willing, that'll happen. Orthodox traditionalists, and he was one of the first to alert me, not the first, like third, but still. He told me about the Father Peter Heers thing. The Romanian Patriarchate signed at Crete in 2016. Yeah, this is Father Peter Heers' career has been based around, trying to be the super trad type and kind of not totally, recognizing Crete 2016. Maybe his tune has changed after 2 years of this bishopless limbo, which allowed people to make fun of him. I didn't even get a chance to look at the 2025 humanism thing to just go through all of the Romanian stuff, but I'm sure I could. Let me just see here. Let's see. Blog. Or is it something else? It's not blog. It's something else. What the heck is it? How do I find this? Give me a sec. Trying to see if I can find the 2025 directory of ecumenism, and I forget what it was called. I forgot the folder name. Frustrating. If you remember it, let me see here. Nicholas Thompson. I think he's addressing Subdeacon Ictarios. So very entertaining. Yep, he's great. He called Crete heretical in his speech at Jordanville when he did that lecture there. So he's self-condemning, just like the ROCOR MP did. Yeah, absolutely. Not only are the Romanian New Calendarists obviously persecutors of the Romanian Old Calendarists, who number in the millions in Romania. That's what's this? Okay, who's coming on? Welcome.
Hello, Father.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm okay.
How are you?
Okay.
I was just joining in because you talk about Romania.
And, you're part of the Old Calendar Church of Romania yourself, correct? Hello?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Sorry,
I'd love to hear your take on this because, I'd love to hear your take on this because of the fact that he joined the Romanian New Calendarist Diocese, which is technically under the OCA, but I think they still commemorate the Patriarch, etc.
They still commemorate Daniel.
Yeah, I think so, but they're actually technically under the OCA.
I see. Yeah, it's crazy actually. Of all the jurisdictions and synods, I did not see him joining the Romanians. Honestly, I thought he was going to get something with ROCOR MP, or
no, I think
maybe even GoArc.
Yeah, they hot potatoed him, and I think GoArc. There was enough, there was enough that people that didn't support him. Now, this isn't the first time the New Calendar Romanians have done something like this, because if you remember last year or the year before, if you remember that priest Matthew Vulcanescu, like he was with the Antiochians, and then kind of they swooped in and kind of took him in. So I find it interesting that they're doing this, but at the same time, they have a record of being like heavily ecumenical. I remember it was like what was it? 10 years ago. Yeah, I remember it was like 10 years ago. I think I reported it on NFTU. It might have been a little longer, but there was a Romanian New Calendar bishop who was present at a Uniate celebration, and he actually took communion there. And I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
yeah, that was absolutely.
Actually, crazy. I think I do, but I know in in like Transylvania area, it's like a bit common too sometimes with one or two bishops. They'll go with a procession for Pashka. They'll actually go out with Catholic bishops. It's crazy. There's and we know this a little bit more in our synod and in Romania specifically, but and it's a theological school in Bucharest. I think it's the Bucharest School of Theology. I'm not sure. It's a seminary for average priests in the Patriarchate and all that. And they actually have a literal monophysite priest serving a divine liturgy inside the church in the seminary to people.
Oh wow!
It's
I think we reported on that. Yeah, this is what Father Peter joined to fight from within.
Yeah, Romania is like unfortunately one of the worst.
Yeah, they're the most within. Let's see here. Memento Mori says, does Father Peter Heers hold to the position that somehow if it's not officially condemned heresy until a council? I know some old Orthodox make that argument. Yeah, that's his general position. Is the whole resist from within, kvetch from within, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so I am curious to see how this goes. It's kind of like a lot of the things he condemned Crete. He condemns a lot of positions that are present in the Romanian New Calendar Church. So
yeah, I think wasn't he? I don't know how you say it. He was like in limbo before Crete, and his whole time he was with Father Theodore Titsus, and all they did was criticize Crete. And that's the whole reason why Father Theodore was an on-commemorator, because Crete was like the final straw for him or something.
But I think Father Peter was generally really interested in commemorating someone. He was just stuck. But in any case, fighting for that Nicholas Thompson, you're correct. It is fighting from within. But canonically, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find a true bishop. As to the question of whether Germany has an Orthodox Church that's aligned with genuine Orthodoxy, yeah, I believe they do. So check in the description on the maps.
Yeah, Germany has Metropolitan Moses of GOC Vicarios.
Gagarin or something. Gargoon.
He's from the Monophysites, and then he left.
Yeah, actually, I think it's great that he converted from the Monophysites. He's made a lot of great speeches against them, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of the few people who knows he even knows Aramaic, and he knows Assyrian. So I feel like he should really utilize those skills in writing a good book, or writing a good book.
So this is crazy news, isn't it?
Well.
He's fighting from within in the Romanian New Calendar OCA diocese.
He's going to get a lot more fighting, apparently.
This is going to be wacky. I'll tell you that.
Well, I guess the hypocrisy is exposed.
Yep.
More so than it has been.
Memento Mori says, curious if that's how he rationalizes joining under the Romanian Patriarchate, even though he condemned Crete 16. And Orthodox Traditionalist says, well. Memento Mori says he's joining the Romanian Patriarchate to fight him. Haha. Orthodox Traditionalist says article coming soon. Oh, I bet.
I hope it's a very long, in-depth article.
Yeah, a very in-depth article with lots of sources about the New Calendar Romanians, because there's a lot to go with. But
they forget to mention the fact that everybody talks about Ruski Mir, but the Romanians are doing the same thing.
They're doing a Romanian year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
wow. There's one that. Oh, go ahead.
Romania are trying to expand into Moldova and try to sort of take it over, and the MP is also trying to keep a presence there. So it's a bit of a battlefield for Orthodoxy. For world Orthodoxy, that is. So.
Yeah, they're going all after each other. First in Ireland, now in this is crazy.
Then they're part of Ukraine. They're in England now.
Yep.
Northern Ireland. They're everywhere.
But hey, we're also in England too.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a BOSVR parish in England?
Yes. Father Nicolae. If you look on the map, he's.
I did not know that. Well, that's great. If anyone's interested,
There's also like 2 in Ireland, actually. I just found out myself, but there's one in Dublin and one in West Ireland.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of.
Apparently, there's a
expansion,
Romanian true Orthodox mirror too.
It's all
Yeah.
it's battle time. All
Yeah,
right.
we're getting a parish in like Paris, around Belgium, in West Germany.
wow.
We're gonna hopefully get one in Austria too. I talked to my father, Father Vinyamin, from Kukova, and he said we will get the parish then, and it's no problem. The synod will get it.
Oh, this is
Yeah, it's
awesome.
great expansions.
You gotta watch out for those Romanians. They're sneaky.
Yeah, they're going. Well, it's a ground war between the new calendarists and the true Orthodox. It's going to be very interesting. I'm surprised there aren't any in America. That blows my mind. But
Yeah, I don't
anything's
know.
possible.
It's probably because like only recently a lot of our priests are only learning other languages, or we're getting new priests that learn them, because all of our bishops, they don't know anything. They only know Romanian. But recently our primate, Metropolitan of Logi, he's learning Greek and English. And
Oh,
he's a very nice man.
I'm curious to
say
see.
the least.
I'm. A lot of people are waiting to see what happens in terms of like because the True Orthodox Church of Romania was in communion with a lot of other people for most of its existence, and so right now they're kind of canonically isolated, but they can just snap their fingers when they want to. And I think a lot of people are watching to see what happens with that.
He's gonna be in. Peter Heers is gonna be in Houston. Oh,
Yeah.
who else do we know from Houston?
Oh wait, I'm trying to think.
Father John.
Oh no.
Wife.
Okay, maybe that'll make the debate bad. Like I think he was kind of into the idea of a debate, and then all of a sudden, now it's going to be like now Father John's going to pop in when I'm not expecting it. Like
Is he?
it's like they can't
is he
argue
going
with one
to-
priest.
Is he going to debate you, or you?
I don't know. He just got his like I'm all out of jail thing on he got his
I'm out of jail card.
as his out of jail card, and then
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, so I said right after, I said, fantastic, now we can finally have that debate. And he liked it. I was a little bit confused. I was like, wait, really? So you down with this? So let's see here.
Wonder how much free reign the Romanians are going to give him, though.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Orthodox traditionalist says Heers is going to try to say that their metropolis is autonomous, therefore he's not tagged with the patriarchate. Okay, then he's just tagged with the OCA.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Let me see.
Wait,
here.
so is he the Romanian? The
Romanian
Romanians under the OCA, or this the
no,
free?
He's under the Romanians under the OCA, from what I understand.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression he was part of their archdiocese. Under
Yeah, same as well.
I mean,
I think UOJ even said he was Romanian patriarchate and all.
Give me
Yeah,
a
I thought
second.
it-
I'm gonna
yeah.
double check,
Yeah.
and I'll just go back to the article. Let me just check it real quick, because we don't want to give we don't do misinformation.
we fact check here.
We fact check ourselves. Okay, so Metropolitan Nikolai. Hold on. What is he part of? Hold on. Metropolitan Nikolai.
Oh, Metropolitan. I'm pretty sure that's the patriarchate
That's-
one, because the other one would be Archbishop.
Yep. You're absolutely right. That is the Romanian Metropoly of the Americas. So that's the one based out of Chicago. And yeah. Okay, so he kind of he went that way. So he is directly under the patriarch.
Oh yeah, that makes it so much better. Not.
This kid, it can only get better from here, guys. I mean, when you consider he was like in, like assembly jail for the past 2 years, this is probably, at least for the next week, he's probably going to be just like feeling great about it.
Oh, I can only imagine when they formally recognize the OCU. Oh, I can't wait for that.
I wonder how he justifies it too, because when Patriarch Bartholomew he visits Patriarch Daniel at the opening of the Grand Cathedral, he actually commemorated Dumenko, and Patriarch Daniel just said nothing. He just He just sat
Exactly.
there. And he never
Wow.
he never
They're
condemned it
they're de
afterwards.
facto OCU. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you for that, Subdeacon. I think we've got it cleared up. And so let me just see here. As always, it is a live Q&A show, so anyone can call in if you want to jump on the stream, ask a question, make a comment on the situation, attack us virulently. You can do that. Just click the link in the top of the chat in YouTube and on the StreamYard chat on X.
I can't wait to either hear or read the Subdeacon's analysis on this whole situation.
Okay, he said, sent me that video. Let me see what video this is. Hold on.
Subdeacon.
Victorious.
Yeah, Subdeacon. I can send it to you if you follow me on Instagram with the same name. I can send it to you in DMs.
Oh, networking. I love this.
Let me just check if I have it.
And as our current goal, for this week is still the same. We're currently at 235. Our goal is 265 tonight. If anyone would be kind enough to assist, I've still got the car issues, and I'm kind of going into debt right now again. In any case, let's see here. And so there will be a new article on Orthodox Traditionalists talking about this momentous occasion.
Infamous occasion.
Infamous momentous occasion. We shall see.
Well, at least he got out of jail.
Yep.
Went to a new jail, but
what are you going to do?
Go right from the Russians to the Romanians. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Wow. Well, in any case, as I mentioned before, it is a live Q&A show. So, what we're talking about right now is, of course, Father Peter Heers is out of assembly jail and has joined the Romanian Patriarchate in America. So, let me see here.
Oh, I can't wait for the assembly to make a statement on that.
Oh, I can't either.
We heartily welcome into the arms of canonical orthodoxy again. And he's going to be like, wait, I was over. Oh, goodness.
This is just going to be weird. It's going to be weird for a while.
Oh,
folks.
I love the weirdness.
We work best in the weirdness.
The patriarchs, they just make their own weirdness. It's like a weirdness factory.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wasn't expecting that, but yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here. If you want to jump on the stream to ask a question, make a comment, issue a challenge, go
Maybe
ahead.
that's what Patriarch Bartholomew was saying when, this is a bad omen.
Oh yeah, that was crazy when his knife broke.
Twice,
yeah. That was weird, and he walked away and had someone else do it.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Little did he know he's going to be back in communion with Peter here.
Yeah. Here we go. But so yeah, I did actually have a topic for tonight. I wasn't sure if I was going to broadcast before this showed up. So I was kind of going to talk about the fact that I've noticed that the kind of Catholic ortho bro dialogue, if we will, basically is terrible. It's actually making people dumber for a couple of reasons. Basically Catholic apologetics today it's what they've expanded their limited form of apologetic to either arguing philo bro style or bigger and bigger quote mines. So basically that's their whole thing. It's always been quote mines, but now they figure if they make the quote mines really big, it'll work better. Unfortunately, folks like the Ortho Bros, the Diorites, etc., meet them at this absolutely smooth brain level and provide smooth brain arguments back. So I was thinking about who was the biggest, because as all of you know, as Father Joseph is kind of the one punch man of of the apologetics debate world, in which really there's like, most of the people that I would be expected to debate don't bother or avoid me. So I'm going to call out probably, this is a pretty big name in Catholic apologetics, but one of the ones that this is something that if you know the original, like the kind of 90s Protestant convert apologists like Scott Hahn and Jimmy Aiken and people like this, like their arguments against orthodoxy are usually really, really lowbrow. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about Trent Horn. Trent Horn is a very pleasant guy, I'm sure, but he, when it comes to orthodoxy, his arguments are kind of terrible, and so I kind of wanted to address it. I was gonna just kind of go after Trent Horn because some of the stuff he says is, well, you'll see. I mean, it's not good.
Well, that whole Catholic Answers group that he was part of, it's just,
they're all like really low kind of IQ arguments. So here we have Matt Fradd, who's, he's kind of like a big in their world with the Pints with Aquinas thing. And he is talking to Trent Horn. And I'm going to just play this. This was the top result when you type in Trent Horn Orthodox. So this is, and he did a few, but it's mostly against Ortho Bros, so it's going to be kind of dumb. But we'll go with this one first because this is just kind of his statements, and then you'll see what I mean. For the record, I actually have not even watched this full video, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to review this because it requires little brain power because, well, it's Trent Horn. And so give me just a second while I try to. Okay, I'm going to do that, put that there, and we'll share it. And we'll review this here video.
Right, let me get my low brain power drink here.
Yeah, you And so, I was not expecting to, what's this? Orthodox Traditionalist says, what's also funny about this is that Father Ephraim gave him some prophecy about being at St. Anthony's in Florence. Looked like that fell through the floor, too. If he's moving to Houston. All right.
Well, a lot of things Father Ephraim said never came. Well, that's a whole different story. Okay.
Leonidas with a member chat, although it's addressed to Orthodox Traditionalists, but it says, can we message you through the Orthodox Traditionalist website? I believe the answer to that is yes. He does have contact info. Okay, so he says, yes, you can send me a contact message. Okay, share a screen. So the title of this is Should We Become Eastern Orthodox? This is this is 5 years old. I thought he had more recent stuff, but I'll go look. I think the most recent stuff is he's going off on J Dyer. But let's start with this as a kind of
I like him a little bit better now.
Who? Because he went off on J Dyer? Well, for me, it's just like it's a battle of the smooth brains. So it's like, but
okay, here's another question, because you reference baptism, Eucharist, confirmation.
Sure.
Why aren't you Orthodox?
Why aren't I Eastern Orthodox? Yeah, and there are people. Rod Dreher is an example of this. So Rod Dreher is a conservative commenter, and he left the church over the scandal, which I think is a poor thing to do because, frankly, you look at studies. I read one study that said this is as bad, if not worse, in Protestant churches, and it's probably even worse in public schools. So I'm sure when you see these scandals in Jewish Orthodox temples of sexual abuse, I'm sure there's skeletons hiding in the Eastern Orthodox closet.
Right.
However decked out it is and like old light candles and stuff.
Yeah.
You'll find this stuff everywhere. It's not going to go away. But Dreher tried to defend it by saying, well, I looked at the evidence for papal infallibility and the papacy, and it's not all there. It's inflated. And I just disagree with that. I think the biggest difference, of course, between being Eastern Orthodox, and you and I belong to Eastern churches. Mm-hmm. The Byzantine Church is Eastern. And after the schism of 1054, which it wasn't a moment, the churches were growing apart for centuries. Yep. But after that, because there were people even in the year 1200 who thought that they were still a part of the Catholic Church, who were in the East. Like, what happened?
Why didn't nobody tell me?
That's not quite correct. But anyway, so already we've discovered that basically these guys have run to Uniatism for their protection of tradition. So that's I'm still waiting for an argument. I guess there's a little tab there, so I guess I'll just click that. Okay, so your reason's the papacy.
But then after the schism, there were a large segment of churches in the East who came back to union.
Right.
The Orthodox came back to union with the Pope. And for me,
Yeah, they're called unions.
Forced.
You're part of them.
Forced.
Yeah, a lot of them were forced, but okay, sure.
the papacy is a gift that God has given the church that makes sense. It's one of the important things in being Catholic. Because you might say, well, I could have all that with Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, and he gave them that gift in 1080. But yeah, he didn't give them that gift. They made it up. But anyway.
But here's a problem with that.
Mhm.
If the church is the kingdom of God, Jesus says that the kingdom of God is now among us, the kingdom of heaven, that this is the kingdom of God on earth. And shouldn't this kingdom be organized similar to the kingdom God also ran, which was the kingdom of Israel? When we look at Israel, God...
This is, I'm going to, because I know where he's going to go here, and we're going to listen to that. But I do want to point out that this argument that kind of the political kingdom of Israel is a reflection of the divine is a relatively recent argument.
Yeah, it's actually Protestant in origin.
It is Rudolf Bultmann and others, and so suddenly it's made its way into Roman Catholicism. It's gonna he's probably going to lead to what we know as the major domo argument, which is the Pope acts as the major domo to Christ, etc. He's leaving aside, of course, the nature of symphonia, the fact that Western kingdoms existed, which were supposed to reflect the kingdom of God before the schism, and then the investiture contract. We're not going to hear any of this, but let's continue. I'm going to put it at 125 because I know where this is going.
You had the king of Israel. Obviously, God is sovereign over all of it. You had the king, like David, but then you also had the prime minister, or the vizier.
Yep.
So in the 22nd chapter of the book of Isaiah, it talks about the wicked Shebna, who would be replaced by the righteous Eliakim as the prime minister. He is under the king, but his authority over the kingdom is massive. What he opens, none shall shut. What he shuts, none shall open. I shall give him the keys to the kingdom. I believe Isaiah 22:22 actually even uses the phrase in chapter 22 uses the phrase the house of David, which is something actually rare to find in the Old Testament, except in certain prophecies. It's very important to talk about here. So, of course, if you recognize that language, I give you the keys. What you open, none shall shut. Then you go fast forward to Peter. And what Jesus does with Peter in Matthew 16:18.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
You are the rock.
There,
I give you the keys to the
I'm going to let him
kingdom. On
finish
this
right
rock
here
I build
because I
my
have
church.
a simple point
And
to
of course,
make.
Catholic.
And that is...
It always goes back to the keys.
But wait. But this is the most important part of this major domo argument. You know what that is? Not one father ever taught this. This is some funky 19th century, like a Protestant, quote unquote, discovery in the scriptures. This has nothing to do with the patristic tradition, nothing to do with church history, but it is so common. I've seen everyone from Scott Butler to Scott Hahn use it. But it is anti-patristic. It is literally not in the church fathers. It's a made-up argument from the 19th century that some Protestants discovered and then some Catholics jumped on. It's sad. But this is what I mean by the smooth brain argument, is that when you're kind of talking about the actual church teaching, the actual historical patristic teaching, they claim it is, and then it just comes out of thin air. It's nothing.
Catholics and Protestants will disagree. Protestants say, well, no, Peter's not the rock. His confession of faith is the rock. And actually, the Catechism says the rock can refer to Peter and his confession of faith. It has dual meanings.
Which version of the
Demetrius says, Father, bless God, bless you in the Father, and the Holy Spirit.
What's funny is that St. Augustine's commentary on Matthew 16:18, he says that it's only his confession of faith, not that it's Peter's the first. And
you can't use the fathers.
That's right. We have to use the catechism from
one of the reasons that a lot of people really can't stand the book The Papacy, or La Papacy Schismatique by Abba Gute or Father Vladimir, is because the commentary he has on Peter the Rock, he lists like 17 fathers talking about how it's the faith that was preserved. And this was funny because of the fact that I brought this up in my debate with Elijah Yassi. The fact that there were a number of fathers who taught that the rock was his faith, and this just made people angry. Like they literally were like mad and saying I was a Protestant. And I'm like, literally, I'm quoting church fathers, but they didn't. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Fathers, you don't need fathers. You just need
Father Boniface Benedicite. Hopefully you can jump on. because there's the more the merrier. But let's continue watching this absolutely smooth brain video and why I don't take people like Trent Horn seriously, even though everyone else does.
A simple argument to that, counter reply to that is this. Well, if Peter's not the rock, why did Jesus change his name? Whenever God changes somebody's name in scripture, the name is a clue to their destiny. Mm-hmm. Abram becomes Abraham, the father of many nations. You know, people's names change. And the same is true for Peter. Why bother changing it? It has nothing to do with being the rock in the first place.
Well, I should state the obvious here that if a great number of fathers are saying the rock is Peter's faith, and Peter was the first one to confess the faith.
That didn't work out for Judas.
Yeah.
So I would see it would make sense then that if Christ established his church, who is the pastor of that church? Who's the pastor? That even when human beings make organizations, there's one guy on top. Mm-hmm. There's a general, a president, a prime minister. It's like that episode of The Office where Jim and Michael are co-managers. It's like, you're co-managers? And Oscar's like, of course, who wouldn't make co-managers? What would Catholicism be without the popes?
Right.
But that makes sense because that's what you have with Eastern Orthodoxy. Because all of the bishops have this kind of equal.
What is this?
He's referencing The Office versus the fathers. This is hilarious.
Authority, the church becomes fragmented. And so what happens is there's a lot of stasis. And so things can't possibly change or grow in the sense of authentic growth. So to give you an example, since the schism, the Orthodox have not had an ecumenical council. They can't call one. They can't possibly.
This argument again, how many times you realize that he's simply stating something that's factually untrue. And no matter how many times people tell him, I'm sure he's heard from at least 10 people, even when he heard this 5 years ago, actually, that's inaccurate. They have the Council of 879. They have the Palamite councils. I'm sure he heard something, but this is a common Roman Catholic canard. And when you're doing this professionally in front of such large audiences, you're just lying to people. Like,
if they're using that logic, then technically they haven't, because there's no emperor present, right?
Yeah.
Ecumenical council means an imperial council, right?
Exactly. And, what do you call the disaster of, Basil Ferrara Florence or anything like that? I mean, the whole thing is just, but it's just, this is why it's difficult, because if someone, more educated were to confront him and just be like, no, stop lying, that would be bad for, the ego of those in Apologetics Inc. And I'm almost tempted to just watch the Dyer video I've never seen, or the one he's critiquing Dyer, just to see who races to the bottom in IQ. I think I'm going to do that.
Well, that's what we call quasi-intellectuals.
Okay.
Even though Eastern Orthodox Christians only make up 1% of the American and 4% of the global population, I've been
What?
Oh, we're making a numbers argument.
Numbers argument.
seeing more posts from them saying Christians should leave their churches and come home to Orthodoxy. And some of the reasons these apologists give undermine.
Now, this is new, by the way, because you can tell he aged. So, this is a month ago.
Their own Orthodox commitments. So in today's episode, we'll look at those reasons, and I'll share my thoughts on engaging in Orthodox polemics. And to help me do that, I've asked Eastern Orthodox priest Father Laurent Kleinwerk, author of He's Broken Body, Understanding and Healing the Schism Between the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox.
This guy, this is gonna.
Have you actually read that book?
I have not. I thought the title looked like that. That's something I would have read when I was a papist. It's just the title is so ecumenist, is so painful.
Oh, it is.
I was just this is again, this is Vatican II liberalism.
Yeah. With the Orthodox veneer. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Demetrius says, I've heard the key argument quite a few times recently. Yes, it's their only argument. It's their only focus.
It's a medieval argument, too.
Yeah, it's a medieval argument, a late medieval argument, and not a particularly good one. And it's not based in the fathers.
It's insane. Nowadays, Roman Catholicism or Papism, all it is appealing to the keys, and you have to be a union man. And then you have the Syrio-Malabar Church venerating Nestorius. Now you have the new Apollo thing where Voice of Reason and now some other Papist apologist is now saying Ephesus erred, a Nestorian. So now we're shifting the goalposts,
Well-
and it's like, okay, maybe they do.
Well, we
But
had
the story-
what was it? Abitaforce even say, "Well, the work of Ephesus is not done."
Wow.
Or no, Chalcedon. Sorry. And I was like, "Huh?" Or not? What was it? Chalcedon or Nicaea? Oh, no. I think it was in the context of Nicaea when they were talking about ecumenism. I can't pronounce that word for the life of it.
Yeah.
I think if it was recently, it's probably Nicaea.
Yeah, it was Nicaea. But then he also was part of that group of talking with the Monophysites, Holy Cross, that Subdeacon Nectarios covered, and then he made a very similar statement. So I'm just like, wow. So have we finished any council according to you? So,
Yeah, that's a problem when they're saying councils are unfinished. Subdeacon Nectarios just sent me a note about Father Peter Heers' new jurisdiction. The Romanian Church of San Antonio, where they let a woman on the altar and put a big old pot of money on it.
well, at least they're honest about what they want.
Yeah, but the woman in the altar thing, give me a second. We'll get back to Trent Horn and stuff, but I'm just kind
An
of
altar girl?
No. This was a woman, I think. Hold on. Let me select here. I can't see it terribly well, and let me see what
Pinch and zoom. Oh wait, no. Desktop.
Yeah, no, it looks like, I don't know if it's a woman, it might be a teenage girl, but the point is they're not supposed to be in the altar. Wow.
It's a whole new world orthodoxy.
Hey, that's kind of where
Deaconesses on the Avon, altar girls. We're next.
Yep, exactly.
I can
Brian
actually,
Mayada says, is it heresy for me to say that I have assurance of salvation? I do believe that I can lose it and that I'm not saved by faith alone. No, it's not. Yeah.
We usually use the language of the hope of salvation.
Yeah, the hope of salvation, the striving for salvation. Demetrius says, wow. Paul Hall says, wow. Yeah, that's awful. It is. Wow. We're just getting discovery after discovery today. And I wasn't even sure I was doing a show today.
Churches to review today's script. All right, the worst arguments Eastern Orthodox apologists make against Catholicism are the ones that would also apply to their own church. And to be clear, what I'm talking about seems to be unique to Eastern Orthodox who spend a lot of time arguing on the internet. Like many terminally online people, the internet can deaden your ability to think critically.
Says the guy from Catholic Answers.
Well, yeah, I know.
Complacency, where you post whatever feels good or based, and you don't stop to think if what you're posting makes sense. For example, one common post by Eastern Orthodox critics of Catholicism goes like this: the Pope did something the poster doesn't like or thinks is cringe. Like,
I mean,
it does happen.
It's kind of weird, you know. He's just,
but to be fair, the World Orthodox Patriarchs sometimes do that too.
Yeah, they do, and I think that's going to be the basic kind of format of Trent's argument. The problem is that they're both wrong, and neither of them want to admit it. So,
blessing a block of ice at an event about climate change. Therefore, Catholics should become Eastern Orthodox. But cringe isn't a synonym for heresy. And the patriarchs of the Eastern Orthodox Church also do things the poster probably doesn't like, such as supporting efforts to combat climate change. Plus, what's wrong with the Pope blessing ice, given that Catholics and Orthodox bless themselves with holy water all the time? If there are Orthodox priests who bless ballistic missiles, then the Pope can bless frozen water. Or
he's taking the shots.
He's stretching it. Come on. He's just arguing just to argue. Come on, guys.
But I do like that they're revealing it's like what's the word? A mutually assured destruction.
That's what we call cheap polemics.
Yeah, well, it's all cheap. That's the problem. It's all become cheap. Dumb. That's why
it's very lowbrow.
Like I said right at the beginning when I started this, it's a Philbro style or quote mines, and then Orthobros respond with, basically Donatism. So
I would love to see if he has a side
Orthodox
screen with like Magisterium AI on it.
A what?
I would love to see if he has a side screen with Magisterium AI on it or something.
Oh, you mean like what was the name of that? The Catholic Answers AI,
Father Justin or something like
Justin, yeah, we defeated Justin.
He just got rebranded.
Oh man, that's okay. Well, I'll have to defeat him again.
say if the Pope makes a doctrinal error, then all of Catholicism is false, and so all of Orthodoxy must be true. I saw a lot of posts like this when Pope Leo reaffirmed the Catholic Church's opposition to the death penalty. But Eastern Orthodox patriarchs and even groups like the Orthodox Church in America have opposed the death penalty as well. Here's a
it's going to be tu quoque all the way down. Wow, this is bad. Maybe I can speed them up a little more.
Don't worry, Jay's just gonna say, yeah, but our bishops aren't infallible.
Right, exactly. But then they have that kind of the problem with it with Dyer's argument there is that it once again, like, he wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to refer to centralized authority, but at the same time say orthodoxy is decentralized, so that you're able to escape arguments, but in the end, you're really following them. And the problem is that Horn, in this case, has correctly noted that they have an identical thinking system because they're all papalists.
I don't know. It's giving me a good case study on why you shouldn't smoke weed and do apologetics. I'm just saying.
priest on the popular YouTube channel Roots of Orthodoxy.
We don't believe in abortion. We don't believe in euthanasia.
They're not
The
Orthodox.
death penalty subverts God's will for a person's life. Even if the government kills a person in response to a crime, it doesn't give the person their entire life to repent.
Eastern Orthodox apologists say in response that the Pope doing something cringeworthy or being in error is...
Did we find out that Roots of Orthodoxy guy is actually Byzantine Catholic?
Yep.
Yeah.
We did.
So he's criticizing his own homies because he's a Byzantine Catholic.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay. Anyway, keep going.
Is fatal to Catholicism because of the Pope's claim to be infallible. The Pope can't make mistakes, they say. However, according to them, the patriarchs and
nobody says that the Pope can't make mistakes. That's a straw man.
The national Orthodox councils can make mistakes, and so those mistakes can be ignored as they don't falsify orthodoxy. But Catholicism teaches that the Pope only acts with the charism of infallibility on very rare occasions.
Yeah, we know. Ex cathedra.
Did he have that before Vatican I? Nope.
No. It's all just made up, man.
It's all made up.
Most of the time when he teaches authoritatively, but not infallibly. So if the Pope were to err when teaching, it wouldn't falsify Catholicism. So even if the
Which Catholicism? The one before Vatican I or the one after?
Yeah, it's just
that's the thing they never address is like after every major quote unquote major council they have to reinvent their faith.
Yep.
There's never an infallible interpretation for the infallible councils either.
Yeah, and that's that's what broke Justin.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, so you have infallible councils, but you don't have an infallible list. How did it change? And he just
he just froze. he froze and he died and he crashed.
Yeah. Poor Justin. R.I.P.
Poor Justin. Rest in pieces.
the Pope were wrong on, say, the death penalty. He would just be making the same error as the leaders of Eastern Orthodox churches. But I don't think this bothers many online Eastern Orthodox apologists because the patriarchs and National Orthodox Church councils really serve more as ceremonial figureheads, so they can use what looks like a Protestant method of individual doctrinal formation neatly wrapped in the aesthetic of ancient communal tradition.
I believe you're both guilty of that, guy. This is so bad.
To see what I mean, consider the issue of whether Catholics and Muslims worship the same God. I've already done a whole episode on that subject where I say I don't like that specific language, but I affirm Muslims, like anyone, can know God exists from reason and direct acts of worship to God. In that episode, I addressed Jay Dyer's arguments that Muslims cannot be said to worship God because they reject God being a Trinity. But how does Jay know that he's correct on this point, given, as I showed in my reply to him, that the Greek and Russian patriarchs say Muslims worship God, and even saints revered among the Orthodox also say this about monotheistic non-Christians? Watch Jay.
Now, what was interesting is I noticed that there was a condemnation on the part of the Moscow Patriarchate of a book written by some Muslim guy.
Apparently he has not read St. John of Damascus.
What? Apparently
he has not read St. John of Damascus.
No, he hasn't. And, let me see here. Okay, well, Death to Compromise says, let's see some donos. And what is he referring to? He is referring to our goal, currently $265. We made $235 on Sunday. We're trying to get money so that we can pay bills and fix the car. Because right now the trunk latch is broken. So once again, if anyone wishes to donate, Whether you can help support by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on GiveSendGo, or just look in the description. As well, if you want to get your comment on screen, you can either become a member, or you can do a super chat, and I will answer and address.
And father from now on's only allowed to have the donos. I eat the donuts. I got to help him out here.
Okay, Austrian Orthodoxy. Hold on, I'm gonna click this. Okay, so I want to finish it. I want to finish this first, and then we will definitely. Okay, so let's do that. Maybe I'll make him 150 or something. He's still too slow.
On multiple levels.
Not fast enough. Not fast enough.
Jay's reply to me, and notice how he finds assurance that his personal opinion on this doctrinal question is correct.
Even if it were correct, and even if Gregor Nyssa spoke out of hand, it wouldn't matter because we aren't, as Orthodox, bound by every statement that a church father says. We're not bound by...
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Jay Dyer sounds gay fast.
He does sound. He sounds a little weird, but I was actually referring to what he was saying, which is we don't have to follow every father. It's just like it's the pick and choosing. It's the same mentality as papism.
The varying canons that many church fathers propose. We recognize that no bishop is infallible. Every bishop can become a heretic. Every bishop can say things wrong. John says in the book of John.
Yeah, except for the ones that you're part of, right? Anyway,
inconsistent.
You have an anointing and you know all things. So I don't need a magisterium to know truth and falsehood because every person who has been chrismated in the Orthodox Church has a direct connection to God.
How is that any different than Protestants saying they have the Holy Spirit guiding their personal interpretation of Scripture and church history? Now, Orthodox apologists might say they aren't relying on their personal interpretation because they have an infallible tradition or sacred tradition to guide them. But how do they know the specific contents of that infallible tradition? Be Orthodox because Catholicism contradicts what I think is true is a bad argument because by their own standards, Eastern Orthodoxy itself may contradict what they think is true. Or Orthodoxy may leave a theological question open and not condemn the Catholic position on the matter. And there are many other cases where I advise.
And see, this is the problem. This is what happens when all parties are unmoored because they don't have the consensus of the fathers. If you don't take the consensus of the fathers as your standard, you're going to rely on external sources of authority, and both of them do, and that creates a form of papalism. So
wow.
It's sad to watch.
He's definitely more Latin than he is Byzantine.
Yeah, and I think he's only going to the Byzantine because he probably can't take what's happening in his local Latin church.
Yeah, I can't do the Novus Order.
Dr. Compromise says, I'm assuming the Father Peter Heers news was covered already. Oh, yeah, and there's going to be a clip. It's probably about 10 minutes. Little Wing says it was DTC, but it happened right as I came in right as it ended. I'm going to watch from the beginning to see what I missed. Understandable. Yeah. We did cover it. Also, that the fact that they did like my comment about doing the debate. So we may. Who knows? All right, let's let this guy finish because it's all papism to me right now. Welcome, Father Bonifant. Welcome, Father Bonifant. I'm hearing myself twice. Again, now Father Bonifant froze.
What am I? Is
No,
it echoing?
No, he's here.
Yeah, it's echoing.
Somebody needs to close out their YouTube tab.
Just close the YouTube tab.
I'll do my best. If I lose you, I'll come back. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay.
The stream order, somebody's being weird tonight. I don't know.
All right, so let's. Hopefully, you'll come back in a minute. Let me get started with this guy.
Advise gung-ho online Eastern Orthodox apologists to stop and reflect for a minute before you try to dunk on Catholicism. For example, Jay Dyer reposted Taylor Marshall lamenting the decline in mass attendance, and Dyer said, "Papism is dying, Orthodoxy is exploding." But the same Pew study Marshall cited that says only 29% of Catholics attend Mass weekly says only 23% of Orthodox attend Divine Liturgy weekly. What about the large number of cafeteria Catholics who disagree with major church teachings? We can find similar rejection of church teaching on issues like abortion and homosexuality in large groups and even majorities of lay people in predominantly Orthodox countries. But what about scandalous liberal Catholic priests? Well, you can find liberal Orthodox priests and bishops who create scandal around things like so-called same-sex marriage. After some Orthodox priests, you can find groups and even major church teachings. We can find similar rejection of church teaching on issues like abortion and homosexuality in large groups and even majorities of lay people in predominantly Orthodox countries. But what about scandalous liberal Catholic priests? You can find liberal Orthodox priests and bishops who create scandal around things like so-called same-sex marriage. After some Orthodox priests said that lay people should not view Jay Dyer's content, Dyer lashed out at them for not addressing the rampant liberal problems within Orthodoxy. He posted a meme saying that they should focus instead on real problems in the Orthodox world related to abortion, homosexuality, and deaconesses, one of which was ordained in Zimbabwe under the Alexandrian Patriarchate. Dyer also wants to debate Catholics on...
I do like that it's almost all our talking points about what's wrong with world orthodoxy that he's using.
Oh, maybe Trey Horn should be looking at true orthodoxy.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to do that, though, because, Marquise.
Well, he could LARP Orthodox, or he could become Orthodox.
That's true. He's a union. He is LARPing Orthodox. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Vatican geopolitics, as if the Vatican's political involvement disproves Catholicism. But Eastern Orthodoxy has a long history of secular rulers, like the Byzantine Emperor, being deeply entrenched in church leadership. Even today,
that was actually also true with the Russian Empire. That was true with the pre-schism West. I mean, it's just a stupid argument.
the Russian Orthodox Church is accused of being a propaganda arm for the Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Well, that's true.
However, none of that disproves Eastern Orthodoxy. So similar accusations.
Let me see here. Father Boniface is back yet. No, I don't see him yet. Okay.
I don't think you would know.
Somehow, sometimes too says, I didn't know there were non-Sunday streams. Nor we used to once upon a time, and God willing, we will again have Tuesday and Thursday streams. But I wasn't even sure on this one. I was like 50-50. But then the whole Father Peter Heers news came out, and I had to, we had to say something. Okay. Hold on.
Don't disprove Catholicism. And if Jay says Catholicism has an infallible charism, so it's different than Orthodoxy, I would respond by pointing out, again, that the Church's divine guidance does not guarantee every prudential decision church leaders make will be good, or even that all their teachings will be correct. A Catholic teaching that has not been infallibly defined could be an error. If these kinds of teachings did not exist, then it would not make sense to have infallible definitions of doctrine, because by this standard...
Well, now this is one problem that I have with this, is because if you're using the patristic standard, which is what we're also supposed to be using, there is actually a standard of faith. Trent's argument, which is basically he's now referring to, authoritative versus infallible, indicates that Roman Catholics today have an even worse understanding of the concept of having faith in an infallible tradition.
Well, even the charism of he's twisting. So he's planting his flag on the hill of Vatican I.
Yeah.
But as he's doing that, he's twisting the documents that came out of it. So to fit his argument.
Leonidas with a member chat says, are there true Orthodox Romanian monks at Sfigmenu? I believe that is addressed to Austrian Orthodoxy because I do not know.
I believe there's a couple, like 3 or 4 at least, but I'm not exactly sure.
Welcome, Father Boniface.
Is it still echoing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is? Okay, I'll fix it again. Let me try again.
Okay.
He might. Are you on speakerphone, Father?
He left.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
the issue is he has no headset or like.
Yeah, either no headset or
and then some speaker. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. The stream's going to blow up.
It would appear that an alarm I set earlier was moved to PM when it was for AM. Sorry.
Time to wake up.
Yeah. Please help wake me up. Help support NFTU. Please. All right, let's continue.
Standard, all doctrines would be infallible, but they are not all infallible because the Catholic Code of Canon Law says no doctrine is understood as defined infallibly unless this is manifestly evident. That's why I said Jay's complaint about the Second Vatican Council saying Muslims worship God does not disprove Catholicism as a whole, because even if that teaching were false, it's not an infallible definition or a dogma that cannot possibly be false. What? And in some cases, Jay complains about...
It basically means Catholics at this point don't even have to know what they're talking about.
So
yeah, but
the
even
Canonical Council is fallible. Okay.
Subdeacon Victoria says, did you see the photos I sent you? I actually put one up, the one of the lady in the altar a few minutes ago. So yeah, I did.
But the thing he keeps quoting, the catechism, even the bishops of the church he follows do not hold that catechism to hold the magisterium.
Yeah.
So
no problem, OTP. And so yeah, this is weird. The whole thing. This is like this is beyond basic reductionism at this point. Like the canon he just put on the screen indicates to me that these people really at this point don't have, and they didn't when I was a kid. I just didn't know it or understand the concept of it. But as a post-Vatican II child, I would say that, it's a very generic, be good sort of attitude. And then you got your first sacraments, and then hold on, there's Father Boniface. Welcome back, Father Boniface.
Is it still echoing?
Let me ask you a question. How are you listening to it with headphones or not?
No.
Okay, so you have a speaker?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, that's what it's doing. Hold on.
I had to do that again. That was pretty cool sound.
Is it better now?
Let me see. It's a lot better. I mean, the echo's down, so I guess if you lowered the volume a bit. Okay, well, welcome back. We're just reviewing this video here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Father Peter Heers thing. He's apparently now in the Romanian Patriarchate, the new calendarist Romanian Patriarchate. And so let me see here. So I think Leonidas, Austrian Orthodoxy answered that with a kind of a yes. I think there may be, but I don't know personally. Yeah. Okay.
There's
so I
like
guess
maybe 3 or 4, and I've also heard
3 or 4. Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know though, and I've also heard there's like a Matthewite monk at Slatiwara, but I have not seen him.
Oh wow!
So that's what I heard. I can't say.
Well, God
Rumor.
It is
Rumor has it.
Yeah. All right, so we're about halfway through this.
About statements from the Vatican that aren't even church teachings at all.
The actual Vatican source that MC Loftdog pulled up, which refutes what Trent says. The Holy Spirit that guides the church is at work in the religions. The universal presence of the Spirit cannot be compared to the presence in the church, although one cannot exclude the salvific value of the false religions. This is the 1997 Vatican document clarifying what you see in Vatican II. So notice they don't explain things, the pop apologists, because they have some idea that this is absurd, obviously a contradiction. They don't explain things the way their Vatican does.
The Catholic Church often permits theological opinions without officially teaching them. For example, the church permits competing Dominican and Jesuit explanations of predestination without saying one of them just is what the church teaches on predestination. Likewise, the International Theological Commission, which is the document Jay is citing, does not publish official church teaching.
Yes, but it cites official church teaching. This is the part that he's kind of glossing over, because when you look at that document, it is referring directly to papal and conciliar documents in the Roman Catholic Church. They're not making it up out of thin air.
Is it? Oh man, his arguments are thinner than a wet piece of toilet paper.
I'm telling you, these are the top apologists, people like Catholic Answers and Jay Dyer giving smooth brain answers back and forth. And it's ridiculous. And it makes people dumber. And it makes people more ecumenist because it makes people dumber. So let's continue.
Instead, it publishes permitted opinions that have gained.
I'm going to reiterate something that basically has been said the whole night so far. It's just when both sides are in error, it's just a big argument fest. That's all it becomes with people. Because he just said that the Benedictines and the other Jesuits, or I forget the others, have differing views of predestination, but the church accepts them both. Well, so in other words, they've got conflict and within themselves. They can't agree within themselves, and so they're a bunch of confused people. They have no straight rule, and so you've got his Catholic confusion arguing against Orthodox confusion with the World Orthodox Church.
Exactly. Ecumenist confusion. They're all ecumenists.
And so it's like, you can't, in other words, you can't pick one of their points and try and justify something because it's all wrapped up in a bunch of error and confusion. And so we just, the true Orthodox Church just posits truth, and this is the way it is, and that's final. And they just don't have that. And they say the Pope is their final authority, but the Pope obviously is overseeing a church which is confused. So he's confused.
Well, the funny thing is, though, if you ask a Catholic bishop before the First Vatican Council, what authority they had compared to the Pope, I think you would get varying levels of answer.
Hence the old Catholic schism.
Yes.
Yep. And so let's
gained a consensus among members of the magisterium. And the document Jay cites is not in error on the point Jay raises, because it says salvation, quote, is not produced independently of Christ.
see. Please note, you can see like Lumen Gentium here. These are all Vatican II documents it's referencing. So this is as close as official as you can get.
Oh, goodness gracious.
In his church. It also does not outright say other religions have salvific value. It discusses the question of whether we can say non-Christian religions that predispose people to truth have salvific value. This is why the document talks about, quote, the possibility of the existence of salvific elements, and says whether the religions as such can have salvific value is a point that remains open. So that document doesn't say what Jay claims it says, and it isn't even an official teaching of the church. In that respect, it would be like many documents proposed by Orthodox theologians that Jay or other online apologists might disagree with, but don't disprove orthodoxy. Now, Jay is correct that Catholics must submit even to the non-infallible teachings of the church, including the teachings of the Second Vatican Council. But since those teachings are not infallible, that means, in rare cases, a Catholic could privately, not publicly, but privately fail to accept these teachings if they have a proportionate, serious reason for doing so, and such an act would not constitute the grave sin of heresy or the rejection of dogma. And for more on what to do if you think a non-infallible teaching is an error, see my colleague Jimmy Akin's article on what to do if you're having trouble accepting a church teaching. That's linked below.
So their world is so different.
Yeah, well, it's a machine. Like, if you listen to Catholic Answers, it's a machine.
Yeah, it's
grind them in, spit them out.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is absolutely
they don't.
Crazy stuff. Oh, go ahead.
You know, I mean, he's just saying that we have an authority, but actually at other levels, we're as confused as all get out. Yeah, that really makes sense. So therefore, they can incorporate any other group that doesn't make sense either. Like maybe one day the Pope's going to meditate on one hand clapping. You know, I mean, why not?
Well, that's not a rejection of dogma. So we can have that theological opinion.
Give me just one moment, because this is
that's what he would say.
Hold on.
Golly, that's stretching. Not calling a heresy a heresy.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I will say is this. First off, to Leonidas with a member chat. Thank you so much for getting us on the board first today, with $5 Canadian. What would the difference be between there being Augustinian and Benedictine monks in the Orthodox West pre-schism and all the different orders now? Pre-schism, Western monks just referred to the rule, just like Eastern monks for the most part just referred to the rule of St. Basil or Jerusalem. They just held to the rule of St. Benedict. The Augustinian order did not actually begin until 1244. So there were no orders until after the schism. They just didn't exist. There was just Western monks. There were canons regular, but outside of that, there was not really any division between.
And Saint Augustine, when he had his group of, I don't know if it. Were they officially called monastics?
He did form a monastic community.
Okay, but their rule was St. Basil's rule. So.
Yeah, and then I mean Augustine kind of modified that somewhat, but yeah.
So you'll have differences. You have differences of let's say liturgy, but you're going to have the same canon of the Mass.
And isn't St. Basil's just a tweaking of St. Pachomius?
Yep, that is correct.
Okay.
And St. Benedict's was a tweaking of St. Basil's. And so that puts us here at our current at $240 with a goal of $260. Help keep the lights on. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Just look in the description. And so we hopefully, I'm hoping if we can get some more donations within the next half hour, because then I'll close out. If we do get at least close to the goal, I'm assuming since it was originally 500, 375. So if we can get to $115 in donations, by 11, then I'll continue on for another half hour. But let's continue.
And all this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you'd like to see even more examples of poor arguments from popular Orthodox online personalities, check out my colleague Joe Heschmeyer's response to Father Moses McPherson, which included things like Father Moses saying that sex abuse cases show the gates of hell prevailed against the Catholic Church, even though the Orthodox, like
What?
Father Beast.
It's Mr. Priest. Yeah, so that's I don't know. Should we? I don't know if we're
No, don't do it.
It can only considering the caliber of this level of argument. I mean, it's just bad.
Yeah.
All right. Let I'm gonna give him I'll give the last.
Like most major religious bodies and secular bodies also have abuse scandals. Finally, you may have noticed my channel rarely discusses Eastern Orthodoxy, and there's a reason for that. There are already numerous Catholics who engage Orthodox-related content, so I'd rather devote my finite time and energy towards other topics and groups that get less attention. My deepest desire is to reach the greatest number of people who are the furthest away from Jesus Christ. That's why the first books I ever wrote were on atheism, the furthest away doctrinally from Christ, and on abortion, because grave sin makes one the furthest away from Christ from a perspective of salvation. I want to help as many people as possible come to know the person of Christ. And there are around 2 billion people over the world who don't believe in any religion. In the United States, while millennials have become less non-religious, Gen Z has sharply increased, with nearly half of that generation saying they aren't religious at all. And globally, there's another 4 billion people who believe in God, but not in Christ. So if I were going to spend more time doing research and creating content on other belief systems, it would be the most common ones that deny Christ, like Islam or Hinduism. Even in the US, with a generous assumption there are 1.5 million Eastern Orthodox, there are still twice as many Hindus, 3 times as many Muslims, and 4 times as many Mormons. So that's why I would spend more time addressing these.
So much for their explosive growth. But anyway, yeah, I mean, he's got a valid point there, at least. To aim for as many, potential targets as possible. And I think we should be doing that generally. But
he sounds like a Protestant, though. He's trying to put a knot in their belt.
That's one of the big problems that I do have with a lot of these Catholic Answers apologists. They do sound basically like Protestants. They make far less reference to the fathers, etc. Let me see here. 1927 to 2007. I don't know what that is, Jacob Clemens. Is that the
Oh, he's talking about
the fall of Rocor?
The fall of Rocor, probably.
Oh wow. There's a lot of anger in you there, Jacob. I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
You come on and you say ridiculous things, but I think you're just really upset. And I'm sorry that we exist, but we do.
I got a question. How can a Catholic evangelist, and guess what? I used to be a Catholic evangelist. Okay, I was in the St. Paul Street Evangelistic Association. I was the Lakeland chapter head. How can a Catholic evangelist evangelize a straight shooting gospel when his own church isn't supporting him? Because they've got all this confusion behind their back with their ecumenism. And even Pope Francis was saying that evangelism was, I think he used the word asphagius, which is a Latin term for eating excrement. I mean, he condemned and he vilified evangelism. And so what kind of support is that for evangelism? Catholic, what kind of outreach are they doing? Are they proclaiming the cross of Christ and his salvation on the cross? The answer is no. They're promoting an ecumenical spirit. And so how is this guy going to promote evangelism in the Catholic Church? You know what he's doing? He's fantasizing. It's fantasy because no one is doing it. I would question him. Show me the Catholics that are on the streets doing it. And I'll tell you that would be the St. Paul Street Evangelistic Association. And then ask him this: how many churches support that group? And the answer is very few. I tried to get the Diocese of Orlando to get behind it, and they refused, and they left it up to individual churches. So try and find an individual church, and then when you do find one, that pastor's going to back off on you and leave you treading water in your own pond. I've been through it. I did it. I know what it's all about. And so this guy's fantasy world. Sorry, it doesn't fly.
Jacob Clemens writes, I guess Father Seraphim Rose just lied when he said Rocor was in communion with Serbia, Jerusalem, and Constantinople. I'd like to see the quote on that. We've talked about Serbia and Jerusalem nonstop, and I don't think he says much about Serbia.
In the early days there were, but near the end of the run of Rokor, there was nobody in communion with him. You need to learn your history, buddy.
Yeah, and
Well-
Father Seraphim himself, in repeated circumstances, continues to say that he's in communion with he's part of the Church abroad and in communion with the true Orthodox Christians of Greece. This was so obvious that they had to take that out of his books after his death. Father Peter Heers admitted to this, that he knew about it. So when you're coming to us and trying to say that he wasn't in communion with true Orthodox, that's false. It's lying.
Didn't Timothy Honeycutt is struggling
also-
with that news?
I also saw a Serbian priest recently, actually an archpriest, and he said he was in contact with the bishops of Serbia, and he said that Serbia said that Rokor was heretical for Philetism, and they were not in communion at all. And this was back in 2000, and so like they weren't communing for decades. So
I could only think of one patriarch that they were in communion with, and that was the initial one. Wasn't it Patriarch Barnabas?
Varnaba of Serbia, because he hosted them, etc. And but that was then he passed on, and
I know.
Collapsed after.
I know which letter he's referring to in 1976. He says something like misinformation or misspoke, because he said they were still communing with like Serbia or something.
Well, I'm sure there was isolated incidents, but yeah.
Yeah, but
that doesn't mean you're in full communion.
You made a mistake.
I mean, in my opinion, from how I see it and how it's even treated by some others, Father Seraphim, he was pretty isolated on Platina. If you know where Platina is, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
you can see this, for instance, like his views of the Matthewites. His sole source for his views on the Matthewites was from a singular GOC of Greece layman, and he really didn't like the Matthewites, so he kept telling him all these lies, even though like Father Stephen Fraser disproves all this stuff, going through the his synod's documents, and he says like, no, we never believed 1924 is the fall of the entire world or anything.
Vromagata 3807 asks, good evening. What woman was in the altar, please? It was a woman in the Romanian church in Houston. We don't know who the woman was. We just know she came into the altar and put, I guess, money.
Yeah, it's World Orthodox. You never know these days.
Yeah, but it does exist. It's on their Facebook, and I'm sure Subdeacon Nectarius he's writing an article about Father Peter Heers joining the Romanian new calendarists, so he'll probably include that.
I mean, there's
by the way, I had in private chat those two videos from Romanian Patriarchate.
Yes, we're gonna get to that right now. And then Vast for Dude 571 says, isn't it fair to say Jerusalem was true Orthodox for a long time? I would say Jerusalem was mixed. They allowed true Orthodox and new calendarists to commune on their altars as long as they used their Antimensian.
They were not formally in communion, though.
Right. And so that's one thing I would say. The other thing I would say is that Jerusalem did kind of hold up until Patriarch Benedict. And if I remember correctly, one of the years that he got involved in ecumenism, the Holy Fire didn't happen. And so he immediately repented of that. And we know Patriarch Diodorus was very much anti-ecumenism and so on and so forth. But that's why
that's why he got pushed out.
Yeah, he got pushed out really badly.
Same thing with the following patriarch, actually.
Yeah, well, the following patriarch was actually he was kind of more of a weak kind of ecumenistic guy until they threw him out, and then he realized his mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's I would say that it is. Yeah, it's a complicated situation with Jerusalem, even now. Yeah, Rokor was not, in fact, in communion with Constantinople because the St. Elias Skeet on Mount Athos would not commemorate the EP. Correct.
I think what he might be thinking.
Now I'm going to make another comment on what I said previously, but it'll relate to ecumenism.
Mm-hmm.
When I left the Roman Catholic Church, I did my best. I thought it was the real thing when I came in, and I realized it wasn't when I went out. But I was working with the St. Paul Street Evangelistic Association, and they had tracts. They had a lot of them. And one tract talked about hell. And then other tracts were very strict on the Roman Catholic faith, okay? And so therefore, the church that I was going to, that I was trying to work through, their leader of their pastoral ministry said those tracts talked about hell and they were not ecumenical enough. So therefore, if you speak about hell in that particular church in Lakeland, and if you're not ecumenical, then we don't want you in our church. We don't like the gospel that you preach, okay? So then this guy is talking about the Roman Catholic Church getting out and doing evangelism. And the question is, what does he know about the gospel himself? That would be a good question to ask him. What is the gospel? Does his church believe that gospel? Okay? Yeah. And then in world orthodoxy, does that church believe the gospel that Jesus Christ died for our sins, was buried, rose again on the third day, and now sits at the right hand of God the Father? And is he the only way, the truth, and the life? Okay? So what is their view of the gospel? It's a problem. You go in any of those churches and start preaching that message, and you'll be out the door pretty quick. And so these guys, these apologists, are whistling Dixie. They don't know what they're talking about because they have no experience at it, I wonder. So so this is the point. You can talk about preaching the gospel here and preaching the gospel there. What's the gospel? And you can talk about, so these guys, keep that in the back of your mind when these guys are going back and forth. They don't even know, what gospel are they preaching and teaching and talking about in the first place?
False gospel.
Enough.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so basically, Ascendancy 7 corrected, is he muted? I'm not sure what you mean by, I don't think he was muted. We could all hear him. But, Jacob Clemens' thing, Ascendancy 7 says he was talking about a temporary mistake that he repented for later with the commemoration of Alexei in 1950 before going to America, only because he thought Roca disappeared. And, that cleansing.
And the whole thing about being in communion with Constantinople is, in the early days of Rocor, they stayed in Constantinople, but they were, I think they actually served there, but they did.
Yeah. Jacob, if you don't have evidence for your claim, stop claiming it, because what we know is based on the history we have, and it just sounds like you're making stuff up.
Yeah, but once Archbishop or Patriarch, what was it? Oh goodness. Once we started getting the Patriarch Meletius of the world, and was the Patriarch after? Oh goodness. But yeah, I mean, once we started getting Meletios and Yakovos and all those.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, I know you like to infect our chat, but if you want to come on, you can also click the link and join in, and you can make your points more clear, because it's at this point it's looking like you just want to poison the chat, and we've had a few weeks of it. So I mean, I have no problem with taking.
Yeah, I mean, your posts are very uneducated, and I don't know.
And you're very persistent in making sure other people are uneducated as well. So you have a choice.
It just seems like seething ankle biting all the time.
Yeah.
And it's only about 20th century chaos and synodal politics. It's never about anything before
it's
that.
Intrigue.
I don't see any consistent Cacodox case for ecclesiology. And history. So
yeah, I don't like banning people at all, but if you're just gonna spew, as I said, you can come on the stream, or I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you can have an intelligent conversation, or you can keep spamming, and then Father will be forced to put the hammer on you.
It's just not worth. It's not worth arguing a bunch of unsubstantiated claims. So, and so let's see here. Once again, just to note, because we are getting a little bit closer, help keep the lights on. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR. Father Boniface disappeared. Hopefully he comes back. Just look in the description. Currently, our goal for the week is $260. We are going to try to reach that and hopefully complete that by the end of the week. And basically, it's for bills and for trying to fix the rear latch on the car. So hopefully, if people are feeling generous, once again, PayPal. Go ahead.
Even St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco talked about the decline of Constantinople. I
Yep.
don't think they would speak ill of somebody they were in communion with. So,
Let me see here. Okay, hold on. Oh, Jacob Clemens is coming on. Okay,
finally.
welcome. And I wonder if Father Boniface is coming back. Yeah, it says device is not connected. So no, there's Father Boniface.
You got to accept permissions, I think.
Oh, there he is. Okay, welcome, Jacob Clemens.
Hello.
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 Hang on a second.
Sure.
Yeah, so I can provide all my sources. I don't just make erroneous claims.
No, you do. You
Yeah,
made
you
quite
do.
a few in the chat.
Oh, okay. So do you want the letter or?
Yeah, sure. What are you trying to point to, if I may?
So Father Seraphim Rose.
Okay,
explicitly
Father
said-
Seraphim Rose. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that I would assume that was an early day. Yeah. Mhm.
1976. I don't
Okay.
think that's early per se.
It is for Father. Well, it's pretty late for Father Seraphim. It's in the middle because he that was
6
his
years before
version.
his death. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Let me see here.
so yeah, I can provide the source. Just give me a second. Let me send a link.
Oh, I already know the Father Seraphim letter, and it's just he's misinformed. And
Okay.
he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know
Yeah,
about
so-
Serbia and Jerusalem, but
Yeah, so
I know
I-
Constantinople.
I can send you a
And-
screenshot, or I can send you the whole letter.
I mean, we don't believe in infallible Father Seraphim Rose or Girondaism, and he could definitely be wrong. Like he's been wrong before.
Yeah, so he could be wrong, but he doesn't know who he's in communion with.
Well, like I said, he didn't even know what the Matthewite position was because he was misinformed constantly. And he
Pretty
lived on
sure-
Platina, and he only went to Jordanville like I think 2 times in his life.
Yeah, sure, but he knew who he was in communion with, and that the Matthewites believe.
I know who I'm in communion with, but I don't speak fluent Romanian or understand everything that goes on or is said.
Sure, but
So
you don't need
that
to
doesn't
understand
mean
fluent
I
Romanian to
understand the
understand some
current-
people think
So
encounters are
do you
racist
want to
or
share the
something.
screenshot of the leather?
Yeah. Just
All right.
How do I share a screenshot?
You should be able to share something like presenter invite, and then I should get a request.
Okay, just a moment. Can I just like copy and paste this? Okay. Sorry, just trying to figure this out.
You're fine.
Okay, so what do I have to press? I'm sorry.
Presenter invite or presenter request or
You have any present button? next to the
present
bottom?
button? Yeah.
It's present lower left corner, next to your picture.
Next to my picture. Let's see. Oh,
A little drop down menu, I think. Depending if you're using mobile or
edit
desktop.
name, remove, stop. I can't find it.
Can you put it in the private chat?
Let me see.
You can't
what I was
send
trying to
pictures, I
do.
don't think.
You
I
could
mean, if
probably
need be, you just screenshot it with Giazo or
Comments.
something, and then you can share the
Join
link.
the chat.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Connect. Hang on a minute. Is this gonna work?
Also, if it's Father Seraphim Rose's letter, you can just share from that one website. You can just share the link and put it in private chat because his letters are all there, at least as far as we know.
Do you know which letter it is? I think they have a number
Yeah,
now.
it's June of 1976. Let me share or copy, I guess. Yeah, I'll just copy it in the chat. Just a moment. See if that works.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one I was
Okay,
talking about.
so 70s. Just a moment. It should be June 30th to July 13th, 1976.
June 30th, you said?
Yeah, June
June
30th to July
Yeah,
13th.
/ July 13th.
June 30th, old style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the letter itself. Within the letter, it says, quote, and probably all of our bishops still believe that the mysteries of at least most of the jurisdictions are valid. Just recently, our bishops refused a request of the Synod of Archbishop Xenios to agree with it on the non-validity of the new calendarist mysteries, and it was not until a year or so ago that the old calendarist Synod ceased to believe that the new calendarist mysteries are indeed invalid. Our church has open communion with the Serbian Church, Jerusalem, and probably others, and at least separate hierarchs free to serve even with Constantinople if they wish. Indeed, even on the right side, there is glaring enough inconsistency if we continue to have communion, as long as they will allow it, with the two groups of the old calendars who have no communion with each other. That's the quote from the letter.
Okay. Now we know that it was a confused period in the synod, and I can show that to you by just pointing out, if you look on his letter of June 11th, 1976, just above that, he has a lot to say about various factions within the various factions among the old calendarists, even the ones that are in the synod. It talks about Father Panalemon, talks about Dr. Kalamiros. But if we look at the letter from June 11th, New Style, on the Apodosius of Ascension, and if you go down there, he has commentary on the Serbians, talking about a local hieromonk who is Serbian who serves. And he says, this letter is too long, and we haven't yet answered your question about the Serbian hieromonk who serves in our church. On the question of the Serbian church, there has not been unanimity among our bishops. Archbishop Averki thought we should class them with the other communist-dominated patriarchates and have no communion with them, but most of our bishops haven't thought so. And in fact, Bishop Sava was so firm on this point, he said he would go into retirement if we broke communion with the Serbian Patriarchate. So in this case, what he's saying is that it wasn't a unanimous question in ROCOR. And that's something I think that we've been consistent on saying, at least on this channel. So we're not in disagreement on that fact, but there's no gotcha here. We know that ROCOR was in a state of internal confusion. So what's your objection?
Well, my point is, I have sources that I would say are reliable in the sense that even you would accept these sources based off, these come from old calendar sources.
Okay.
In the book, The Struggle Against Ecumenism.
Okay.
After the 1983 anathema was published, some of the arguments that Holy Transfiguration Monastery and some of the monks there were making was the fact that ROCOR had dioceses that were in communion with quote-unquote world orthodoxy, and that they were falling under this anathema. So if this is the case, then 2007 is irrelevant if they're already falling under it in 1983.
Well, you see this. Your problem with the problem with your argument here, Jacob, is that is a monolithic argument. While world orthodoxy,
it's cut out of context too.
Yeah,
who was the metropolitan at the time?
Yeah. But the point is, I was going to say that even in 1987, this question was relevant worldwide. And so it was not just like, for example, world orthodoxy for the most part, just like SCOBA and the Assembly of Canonical Bishops, as you know, is a legal fiction. So there was never that sort of tight unity. Patriarch, as I mentioned, Patriarch Diodorus of Jerusalem was firmly against ecumenism. And so he was welcoming to true Orthodox whereas his successor 2 people later wasn't. So the point is to present it as if it's just 2 parties that are black and white, when especially in that period there had been a lot of communication, intercommunion, and in some cases communion, like with probably Metropolitan Anthony of Geneva and the aforementioned Bishop Save, as Father Seraphim noted. But that was far from the position of all the hierarchs. It certainly wasn't the position of the true Orthodox hierarchs. So what I'm trying to get at is 2007 did mean something, because nobody in the Row Corps, whether they recognized Constantinople or not, had a positive disposition towards Moscow. That wasn't really true until probably the mid 80s, with the exception of Archbishop Mark, who some suspect was an agent. But the whole point is, you can't just say that 2007 wasn't different. It was. It was the union of the Moscow Patriarchate with a Row Corps that at its core, or part of Row Corps, about 60% of it, where they were willing to do something that their previous spiritual fathers weren't. There is a distinction, and I feel like you failed to address it.
I don't think Metropolitan Philaret would have been in communion with any of them.
No, he thought they were satanic. Well, I would hope that Jacob understands that Metropolitan Philaret thought they were
Philaret had very strong
Saint Philaret,
opinions
Yep.
over. Yeah, I believe he's a saint. Over the MP and the OCA, he specifically talked about the most. He talked about, the EP and so forth in some of his sorrowful epistles, but the only ones I could say
he really
definitively
directly.
say
Yeah, go ahead.
he thought were graceless was definitely the MP. That's without argumentation. I think everyone agrees on that. The OCA, you can say it's implied. He doesn't explicitly say it.
He calls them false acephalites.
Yeah, well, you can interpret that multiple ways, and I'm not saying he affirmed grace. I don't think he necessarily.
No. Stop. He called them false acephalites. Acephalites are a specific group of heretics, in the church's history. He's saying that they were below acephalites. Like he didn't have a positive disposition towards them at all.
No, I'm not saying he did. That's
not because they were a schism from Row Corps. That's why.
Well, officially on paper, it was administrative. They said they didn't recognize the OCA's autocephaly. They never.
No. It was before that.
No, the Cleveland Council.
The 1946 Cleveland Sabor was when the OCA broke off of Row Corps.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why Row Corps called them schismatics and graceless.
Yeah. Well, the bigger issue was over the autocephaly in 1970.
No, that was just icing on the cake when they literally surrendered Japan to the Soviets.
Well, you don't see as harsh an attitude until 1970.
How would you know?
No, that's not true.
How would you know? Have you read all the different historical figures around this?
There's
St. John also defames him.
Hold on. Can I make a recommendation for you, Jacob? Give me a moment, okay? I'm going to find a book for you. It's online. It's an old book from like 1950, which was published by Jordanville, and it was called "The Truth About the Russian Church Abroad." I don't know. Have you heard of it?
I believe so. It sounds familiar. You said sold at Jordanville?
It was printed by Jordanville. I believe it's out of print now. It has been for a while.
I thought they brought it back.
Let me see here. They might, I don't know if they brought it back, but what I'm going to do is here. I'm going to give you a link to it. It was by Emerald Zianko, and I'm going to put it in the private chat just so you can get the history straight about the Russian Church abroad in that period, because I feel like you're missing a lot of detail.
Context.
Yeah. What's also interesting is that when you read Father Stephen Fraser's book, right, himself, and he admits that even when he was in America and he entered HTM in like the 50s and 60s and all that stuff, he said that Row Corps didn't actually understand the calendar issue that much. And he said it was only around that time where they actually started to understand things, because they were so focused on what was going on in Europe and what was happening in Russia So they kind of put sock on it and kind of had a agnostic issue towards the rest of the global Orthodox patriarchates. And what's also interesting is that in the GOC archive, in the Matthewite Synodal archive itself, it says when they went to get in communion with Rokor, all the Rokor hierarchs accepted their confession of faith that says global Orthodoxy was graceless. And basically, the only reason why it fell through was more so because of Archbishop Auxentius, but also because of the fact that you could say and talk it up that Rokor wanted to be more diplomatic towards other synods.
Why would you disagree with that?
For
the Matthewites. So you know more than the Matthewites, or what?
The Matthewites lie about their history. The Rokor was in communion with.
How do you know that?
In the 70s.
Rokor was in communion with who in the 70s?
WO unquote or.
No, Rokor was in communion with both okay, I don't know if you know this, but between 1972 and 1976, the Florinites and Matthewites ultimately were in kind of an unofficial communion.
They were in tangential communion. Yeah.
And they were both in communion with Rokor.
Yes, they had communion via Rokor, and the idea was to eventually get the two to merge.
Well, they had formal communion since late
yeah,
60s.
they had formal communion. That's why Archbishop Andreas
formal communion since 1969.
Yeah,
they yeah.
I'm talking about
that's when that's when they recognized their consecrations.
Yeah.
The consecrations of 1962, but the whole point is they did that in response to the fact that in 1965 Athenagoras dropped the anathemas, which led to the first sorrowful epistle. The idea that Rokor was like all gung-ho for world orthodoxy is just not true at that period.
Yeah, we have multiple patriarchates saying it holds no weight, so it really doesn't matter.
It's not an issue of holding no weight. It's an issue of they do it every year.
Well, he's coming from a world Orthodox position.
So Jacob,
you can't lift an anathema against heresy. It's not how that works.
Okay, but that means that if you remain in communion with people who recognize the Pope as the first hierarch of the Church, as they do every year since 1965, then what does that say about you?
Well, the EP is very small jurisdictions, about 3,000 people in Constantinople.
You do understand the EP has jurisdiction over the Gorge, right?
Yeah, but it's just commemorating him. It's not.
Constantinople administratively controls Gorge. It's under them directly. That was done by the.
Yeah, they rotate. They rotate the metropolitans from over here to their synod.
You'd be directly under your local bishop, though.
What?
Not under the EP. Essentially, their metropolitans are like auxiliary bishops
of Constantinople.
Yeah, they're an eparchy.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, I mean, no. Even if you want to make that case, no synod affirms branch theory synodally. So,
they do
actually
really pre-heresy bareheaded from the phone, though.
Yeah, Canon 15 teaches non-commemoration, doesn't teach parallel hierarchy.
Yeah, but non-commemoration is not a permanent position.
Exactly. Either the church sets itself straight or parallel hierarchies form. Do you understand that has happened, right?
Yeah.
Jacob, it's a bit surprising because I'm pretty sure you were told about parallel hierarchies. And, Patriarch Dositheus writes an entire book on the whole entire subject where he debunks the claim.
Parallel hierarchies.
Well, the new calendars would be the parallel hierarchy.
Parallel hierarchies have only existed primarily in administrative schisms, not in the sense
that's
of
false.
No,
don't think so.
Not.
No, that's absolutely. Have you read the history of resistance? Because that's a great.
I have actually. I own the book. I have it on my table.
Oh, okay.
You might want to reread it.
Then you might want to reread it because it wasn't administrative jurisdictions before the Council of Ephesus, Chalcedon, Nicaea, the iconoclastism. In every single case where there has been massive heresy, there have been parallel jurisdictions, and sometimes even fighting each other.
Yeah, look at St. John Chrysostom, for example.
The Dodeca Biblios by Patriarch Dositheus in the 1600s literally goes over this exact thing, like parallel jurisdictions. Like the Arian crisis, it was St. Gregory Nazianzus, who is the Archbishop of Constantinople, and he was a quote-unquote parallel bishop to the Arian bishop of the time. I can't remember his name. I think Theophilus or something, or Demophilus, something like that. but he was a quote unquote
And I'm not-
parallel. But
And I'm not denying that
I mean,
they.
say he's a
I'm not denying they don't exist. I'm
okay.
denying what the relation is there.
Well, you said it was just
That doesn't
administrative, and that's
make sense.
false.
I'm saying administrative in the sense that they didn't mutually call each other graceless.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that would need to be
I
substantiated.
Take for example.
I have a bunch of quotes, by the way. Actually, hold on, I can pull them up. I
Well,
can
you'd first have you'd have
I
to
can just
first
point. I can
prove
just
that
point.
that was a. Hang on, you'd have to first prove whatever you're going to quote was a parallel hierarchy to begin with.
Okay, so I'm gonna quote the Antiochian schism that occurred in the late 300s between Meletius of Antioch, Paulinus of Antioch, both of which had support of different
Both
parties.
of which are saints, by the way.
Yeah, both. That's true.
So
but there was also
neither of them were graceless, so that point's irrelevant.
But they didn't see each other that way, and they in fact received each other's people by chrismation, received each other, and on top of that, with Lucifer of Cagliari, which was another faction that broke off from the Paulinus of Antioch faction, they were rebaptizing people. So no, you're wrong. This is all in the Antiochian sphere. And so
well,
no,
here's just let me do this one example for you. Here's Saint Germanus of Constantinople, way before the Ecumenical Council, the seventh one, condemning iconoclasts as heretics or whatever. And here he is in the year 726 from Patrologia Graeca 98, column 147. I wrote this in Greek, but I'll read you the English. Those who destroy icons are heretics, deprived of the grace of the Holy Spirit, strangers to the church.
Okay.
So there's an example of a quote-unquote parallel bishop who thought iconoclasts were graceless. And I mean, it's not even as bad as maybe Arians or anything. He's saying
no,
this
that's
about
administrative.
It's not administrative. And the Seventh Council was held to reunite factions that were separated from each other that were Orthodox.
If any Orthodox church taught iconoclasm in their confession of faith, then yeah, they would be graceless.
Okay, good.
Well,
so we admit that heretics can be graceless without the.
If it's in their confession of faith, if you have local bishops teaching something, it's not on the same level as a universal confession of faith.
What does that even mean, man?
What do you? I don't know. Do you have the confession of faith?
That sounds like a Peter Heers word salad there, buddy.
So, for example, right? Say you have a confession of faith that says that iconoclasm is heresy, right?
Which would
you
be
have a bishop that is going against
that would be
that's going against
yes,
the confession of faith.
Yes.
That whole synod of bishops wouldn't be graceless, nor would that bishop be graceless until he's deposed, unless the confession of faith changed and then they confessionally adopted a heretical.
You do understand that these people adopt the heresies first before they get conciliarly deposed, etc., right?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying specific bishops adopting heresies. I'm saying on a conciliar level.
Do you know what homologia
the entire synod saying that icons are heresy, for example.
So basically, as long as the entire synod of bishops, in his view, is not signing onto a piece of paper that says confession of faith and writing in the heresy, that means they can't be deposed.
You can have heretics in the episcopate. Yeah.
Do you know what homologia is?
I've not heard the term, no.
Well, then you wouldn't know what a confession of faith is.
I wouldn't know what a confession of faith is.
You know what homo means, right?
Sure, yeah.
Homo. What does it mean?
What does homo mean?
Yeah. And don't chat GPT it.
Homo just means gay, right?
No, homo means same.
Oh my gosh.
Homo means same. So if you don't have the same confession of faith, then you don't have homologia, right?
Yeah, so what would happen is you'd have certain bishops going against the confession of faith, and they'd be liable to be canonically deposed.
Well, glad we agree.
So, uncompromised zealotry says canonical penalties for heresy and schism are not affected until the proclamation of a council. Until then, individuals may be subject spiritually to anathema, but the synod remains part of the church. No, if they're holding to heresy, they don't remain part of the church. They just haven't been condemned yet. This is why parallel hierarchies always form. The first time this happened was at the Council of Ephesus with Nestorius. And people separated and formed their own churches, and people like Hero of Alexandria gave them ministrations. So then the council vindicated that action. So you see the pattern always remains the same, even if rooting out the heretic takes time. But in this case, what you're dealing with are whole bodies who hold to the heresy of ecumenism. They're never going to to fix themselves, and our job is to simply do what has always been done: separate and continue to build our administration. Welcome to 2026. There are about 150 true Orthodox bishops throughout the world and a few thousand parishes.
And about 19 years ago, Roker MP fell under their own anathema.
Well, if we were going to take that to its logical conclusion, Rokor fell under its anathema long before 2007. Is my point. I don't believe in anathema theory, so
that's when they had time
theory. What's anathema theory?
That anathemas essentially automatically separate you before a council.
Do you know what the word anathema means?
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between.
He doesn't even know what homo means, Father.
Yeah, it means to be
homo
separate.
in Greek,
right?
Yeah,
separated.
So the nature of an anathema,
or lifted up. It has a double meaning.
Yeah, but then the meaning, we know the meaning in church language. So the idea that anathema is a theory, it's not. It's real.
It's
that's
a border.
Why on the Sunday of Orthodoxy, that's why we proclaim anathemas to talk about everyone who's separated from the church.
Well, it's literally the church telling you where the border is. If you go past the border, you're outside the church. Right?
Sure, and I agree, but you have to understand the context of, for one, what the Rokor anathema was proclaiming.
Oh, really? So you're going to educate me?
Okay, you can just look at the fact that it was a local council to begin with. It was not universally accepted by anyone. It was accepted by Rokor only.
Oh yeah, because they had no.
Do you know how Rokor perceived themselves, though?
Well, yeah, they perceived that council as a local council as well. Fladico Vitali flat out says it in multiple occasions. He says it in the Christmas epistle in 1986. He says it in Orthodox Word in 1984.
Yeah,
but they're also the voice of the Free Russian Church.
Yeah, they consider themselves the only Russian Orthodox Church, and it would be local because they have no one in communion with them at that time. And also, secondly, in Vitali's 1984.
Not fully true.
Leonidas with a member chat asked Jacob Clemens, do you think the Monothelites were still in the church after the Lateran Council of 649 anathematized them until the Sixth Ecumenical Council in 680?
They were in the church until they were formally deposed.
Wow.
Oh, he's a part. I see where he's coming from. He's a Peter Heers guy.
Yep.
Well, I guess
Saint Nicodemus specifically says the office of the bishop is not dependent on who's in the office. It's dependent on if they're in the office. So until you're deposed of said office, or you leave the church by schism, or by just leaving for whatever reason,
or you preach bareheaded and everybody leaves you.
Yep.
So you know what the keyword right there.
Part of that. So you know the point of Canon 15 is literally to bring about repentance in that bishop. That's the whole point. No,
it's not. It literally calls him a pseudo bishop.
A pseudo bishop. A synagogue of Satan.
Yeah, within his doctrine. You don't follow his doctrine at that point.
Your argument is whoever holds your argument is still basically, because heresy is irrelevant, whoever holds the building is the real bishop, even if they're a heretic.
Yeah, hold on.
Say heresy is irrelevant.
St. Maximus doesn't agree with you though.
I didn't say heresy is irrelevant.
So the bishop.
So are you saying those bishops won't have to give account before God on the judgment day?
Oh, everybody does.
Everyone has to give account before God.
So they're going to have to give account before God. And the reality
Everybody
is,
does.
We all
when
have
you're
to
still
do that.
partaking of the sacraments, when you're still taking the body and blood of Christ, even if you have heretical bishops, they're taking that to their own
If they're a
condemnation.
heretical bishop,
Have you read the rhetoric?
now,
Jacob, have you read the rhetoric?
No,
yeah,
not fully.
Uncompromised zealotry says, well, I mean, Jacob is saying the exact same thing that Chrysostomus of Florina claims. So, well, you're talking about between 1936 and 1949, but even St. Chrysostomus realized that that was a mistake.
He said similar things in 1951.
Sure. The point
I
is,
can get the source for you.
Sure, go ahead.
I remember the source. It's just some vague
It's
appeal.
it's in Greek, but you can translate it over. There's not a good English translation. Let me see.
Yeah, every time I see a claim of that, it's always some vague appeal to, oh, he said it though.
Okay.
And it's kind of
I
suspicious
know, it's
that
anecdotal. I know.
Yeah, and he was wrong and he repented of it.
even Archbishop Akakios Papas, he still held to the graceless view, and he was kind of pretty close to Metropolitan Chrysostomos. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Romagata says, question, Nestorius before the council, everything he did prior in the church stayed valid, when deposed formally, then voided, until the council declares deposed, and nobody can say valid or invalid. But the problem is this, heretics lose the grace of God by nature of the deviation from the faith.
Especially when everybody knows it.
That's part of the reason why
still recognized Nestorius until Ephesus.
he didn't recognize him. He just called him a nice name in a letter. That's not recognition. He literally organized the resistance against him.
So,
Well, it's like
hang on, going by your own logic,
Mhm.
heretics are false teachers and pseudo bishops.
Mhm.
Why would he refer to him in his proper ecclesiastical title if he's a pseudo bishop and a pseudo elder?
Because it's considered polite. That's the same reason I refer to
Yeah,
Father
it's like
Peter
the same
Heers as
reason.
father.
Same reason the Patriarch of Moscow would be addressing Bartholomew, right? As his all holiness.
Yeah, well, that's another case of administrativism.
Yeah.
Laymen are allowed to commune.
Everything's administrative-ism.
Well, you have lay level communion.
And Saints
What does
of
that even
Rome,
mean?
They were sending letters.
It
Saint
means if
Cyril
you have a
said
layman
that,
that's in the Russian church, he
use
can
grace
commune at the Greek church if he
Well,
wants.
I'm very well aware. I was Roker MP. But where does that concept?
Then you would know you could go to a Goer's church if you wanted to.
Where does the lay level communion thing come from?
Where does it
Usually
come
when
from?
you're
It
not
comes
in
from the
communion, you're not in communion.
It's mutually hierarchs not recognizing each other due to
No,
various
it's a load of
issues.
crap is what it is. If you're not
It
in
does not have
communion,
to
then
do
you're
on
not
the
in
lay
communion.
level.
No, if you're not in communion, then you're not in communion. There's no distinction. Why would a layman still be able to go somewhere where a hierarch or a clergyman wouldn't be able to go?
Now, Latin Boy
doesn't even make
305 has
sense.
an interesting question where he says, but what's the point of a council if the person becomes a heretic schismatic before council takes place? A person can become a heretic or a schismatic before council takes place. The council is to proclaim that they are heretics and schismatics to warn the rest of the church.
Yeah. It's a line in the sand.
So you basically just have arbitrary canons and councils, even though they're already outside the church before the canons and the councils.
It's not an issue of whether they're arbitrary
It
or not.
formalizes what everybody already knows.
Exactly. And more importantly...
So that's arbitrary because they already know they're heretics.
No, they don't.
No.
I don't think
if you're-
Bartholomew thinks he's a heretic, even though he is one. I don't think any of the ecumenists think that they're heretics. They just believe their heresy is orthodoxy.
Well, I'm not talking about Bartholomew. I'm talking about the people within the church that aren't embracing their heresy already know that they're heretics. So it's like,
How about Bishop Alexander Golitsyn of the OCA, who doesn't believe in the Fifth Council and thinks that Origen is a saint?
He was a rehabilitated word.
Yeah, he's
falls under
very
the ecumenical
problematic. Nobody's denying that.
That's not problematic.
And he
If you
should,
deny
Is that
one of the-
heretical?
he should be synodally deposed.
which he won't be. But
He
the
should.
point
But he
is,
won't. He won't be there.
That arises another question, right? If canons are just arbitrarily there to tell someone when they're a heretic,
They're
what's the
not
point of
arbitrary.
deposition
Canons
if
are
they're
there
already
for-
in the?
You tell
No,
me you're the
canons
world
are-
Orthodox.
yeah. Canons are there for administrative order. But the point is, when enemies of, orthodoxy, let alone administrative order, take over, which is what happened in 1724 with the Melkites in Antioch. You have to start a new hierarchy. I don't know if you're aware of that, Jacob, but
Well,
the
that's a
Melkite
very
Catholic
ambiguous
Church,
statement.
no. The Melkite Catholic Church formed by the entire Antiochian Holy Synod joining Rome in 1724, and it was a simple monk, Saint Sylvester, I believe he was a saint, who had to go to Constantinople, get made a bishop, and literally rebuild the Church of Antioch.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, it's still arbitrary. How many bishops is taken over? 5?
Hey,
10?
All of them. They all left.
Jacob, why is Russia in Alexandria right now?
What's that?
Why is Russia, the Russian bishop and the Russian clergyman, why are they in Alexandria setting up a parallel jurisdiction?
Why are they setting it up? Because they are in an administrative schism with Moscow.
I'm starting to believe the term administrative schism is a catchword to you forever.
Aren't there canons that prevent one diocese from entering into another diocese?
Yeah, there are. It's called what both sides are doing if they're trying to set these things up is uncanonical. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say, let's just say hypothetically speaking, what if there was an already existing hierarchy in the Church of Greece?
Okay.
Right? And then there was an innovation that occurred. And everybody, except for a few, went along with the jurisdiction.
Yeah, it doesn't logically follow. I mean, if you want to make it, well, they innovated, then you'd have to vindicate the old believers. Because,
no, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you actually
the old believers
would.
The old believers went into a bunch of heresies and had no bishops.
Yeah,
and no. I'm talking about. I said the Church of Greece.
Right, but he wants to deflect to the old believers, and it's a stupid argument. But
it's not because
it's a totally different argument. Actually,
were the reforms innovations or not?
No, they weren't.
Well, they were unilaterally imposed by a very pushy patriarch.
Right, they may have been unilaterally imposed, but the simple reality is that no, they weren't. They
were
to make things consistent with the rest of the church.
Okay, so let's be consistent here, right? Because we're big about consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this is the case, if the calendar's such a big thing, why did nothing occur in 1921 with the Church of Finland adopting the Gregorian calendar, which got authorized by Saint Tikhon?
Well, they were kind of in the middle of that whole Russian Revolution thing.
Yeah, that started.
Also, Finland was when.
But the Gregorian calendar falls under the anathemas.
What did you say, Austrian Orthodox?
I was just saying, Finland went independent and acted on their own behalf.
But does the new Paschalian fall under the anathemas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did a saint authorize a church to go under the new Paschalian?
No, he didn't. They were already under the new Paschalian, and he worked with them and tried to get them to switch.
That's complete revisionism. What?
No, it's not. No, it's not. There are actually notes from St. John talking about that to the Church of France. So yeah, that's revisionism.
Yeah, and there's 3 different councils that talk about the Paschalian and the Manian.
And that was part of the reason why they were kicked out of Rokor so quickly after St. John's death, because he was trying to be patient with them. But when he passed on, the Russian Synod demanded that they change the calendar, and they refused. So they just.
You believe? Well, I just want to get this.
Since you're big on documents, you might want to go look that up.
Hang on, I just want to get this clarified on everyone's view here. Do you guys? This goes for anyone here. Hold that the 1583 anathema condemns the Menologian?
If I remember correctly, it condemns the Menologian and the false
Paschalian. Yeah.
Okay, so you believe in a
It's not just 1583.
And it's not. It wasn't 1583. There were 3.
No, it only condemned the Paschalian.
No. You're talking once again. You're talking about a single document. We're talking about 3 councils. Then the 3 councils all condemned the entire papal calendar.
Yeah, they condemned the Paschalian, the date of Pascha.
And
In
the
the
man.
1583 document is a known forgery in
Okay,
Athos
you
in
go.
the 1800s.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay, you lost us.
here you
That's a
go.
lot.
So, like, first off, you're like the 1583
No,
document.
no.
Even, but when we
even
push
one of
back
your
on
own
it, you're like,
people,
oh,
see?
it's fake.
Listen,
Yeah, I know where he's going with
even
this.
Metropolitan Cyprian agreed that it was a forged document, and he was an old calendarist.
Okay, he's wrong.
Are you talking about the Sigillian?
He's wrong. He's talking about the Sigillian.
No,
Oh,
he
goodness.
was talking about the fact that the 1583 document doesn't only condemns
That's
the
the
Paschalian.
Sigillian. That's the Sigillian of 1583.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I actually
Yes.
have the 1583 Sigillian, and it says Metalogian. It says
Yep,
that who what
it
Yeah,
does.
because you're looking
It
at
says
an
it's-
1800s
Yep.
forgery.
Leonidas points
It's
this out
possible.
correctly.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that begs
matter.
the
The
question.
1587 and 1593 documents are
Nope,
legit and say the same
they
thing.
only condemn the
There's
Paschalian.
three different documents, dude. Come on.
They only condemn the Paschalian, and even if we're going to make this point,
Oh, bless his heart.
it's
He doesn't
irrelevant.
know.
It's irrelevant
Also,
because
by the way,
the Church of
by the
Finland's
way,
been under the Gregorian since 1921.
And then, they've been basically Lutherans since then.
Yeah, but that was before any calendar schism actually occurred.
Yeah, but you know why that whole calendar thing came up?
Of course.
Ecumenism.
No,
Yep.
Yep.
no, it
Yep.
happened
So what is the
because
1920
Why is there a new calendar?
What
Why?
does it
All right,
say in the
can you
1920
show me-
document?
Can you show me any quotes from Chrysostomos Florina or Bishop Matthew referring to the schism being about ecumenism and not
I'm
the
talking about the Congress
unilateral,
where they were talking about it in
uncanonical calendar
Constantinople.
change?
Actually, no, but we can show quotes from both Chrysostomos and St. Chrysostomos and St. Matthew saying that we don't want to unite with the Latins, with the Franks. And that was something that was said throughout Greece in response to using the papal calendar.
Their whole point, though, with the adopting the new calendar deprived one of sacramental grace.
And do you know why they were trying to do that? Why they were trying to do the new calendar? Guess who they were who Constantinople was trying to unite with at the time?
So I'm
It says
very
it in
much
the-
aware of the 1920 document.
Yeah, okay, so who was it?
Who was it?
The West.
Which West?
Yeah, the Papists, right?
Wrong. God, you don't know anything.
The
Anglicans, dude.
Well, yeah, in 1922.
Because they're a
said they had
buddy.
valid mysteries.
British Freemasons getting along together. Didn't you know that?
Again, though, these documents were never infallible. And not only were they not infallible, they were never.
All right, Father, I'll let you deal with him.
At this point, I mean, we're at the 11:30 mark, and I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but like, I mean,
you're not convincing.
You haven't actually addressed anything over.
You haven't made a good argument.
Graceless.
You don't want. Well, again, we can get into that discussion, but unfortunately, I'm grateful for the one donation we've received, but I gotta shut down eventually if nothing happens. So I mean,
so are you a Throw-Core MP?
I'm in the Canonical Church. It doesn't matter what's.
No, it does matter.
Well, we're in the Canonical Church.
Why
so
does it matter? You
Because
think they're all graceless anyway?
There's not one canonical church.
Yeah, we're in the Canonical Church, the Church of Christ.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we
no,
are.
You're not.
We are.
Yeah,
We're in
we
the
are.
True Orthodox Church. You're in some.
You don't even know what you don't, dude.
Let me put it to
you
this
don't
way.
even know it. You don't even know what canonical means.
You've
Yeah,
been
because-
hopping. You've been hopping the subjects like every time, and then you're like, "Well, okay," and then going to the next one, man.
Yeah.
You gotta
Hey,
stick to-
Jacob, let me put it to you this way: you are afraid of saying who you're under because of the fact that you know that no matter who it is, we're
Yeah.
going to have something to say about it.
Just another
What's the point of me telling you who I'm under when you think they're all
Because of
graceless anyway?
because of the fact that you are proving that
Your ignorance.
No, well, not even that. I would say that it's because I think he knows his bishops are ecumenists. We'll just demonstrate it the second he says who they are.
Yep.
Well, you think
the
there's
Orthodox
an
Church,
infinite.
little
Hang on, you
fish,
think there's an infinite regress that if a bishop's in communion with
No, I don't.
bishop,
No, I don't.
he's
I don't.
automatically an ecumenist.
That's false. That's a straw man.
All right, I'll give you an example. Give me one.
So is Heers? Wait, hold on.
Hang on.
Wait,
Hang
Hold
on.
on. Hold on. Let Father talk.
Relax, man.
We do things here. When we get a donation, we announce it. Little Fish Big Mountain says 199. Orthodox Church in Finland uses papal Paschalian. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
It's completely like a Roman Catholic Church at this point.
Since
And they're
1921.
Thank you so much for helping keep the lights on, and I can update this.
And they're
So
de
we
facto in communion with the Lutherans.
We got
There
2
you go.
donations.
Yeah. So again, if you don't believe in this infinite regress,
It's not
you'd
an
have
issue of
to.
infinite regress. You'd have
It's
to
like a
demonstrate.
cancer in the body of Christ, huh?
Yeah.
All right,
Just
I'll
cut
give
it
you an
out.
example. This is just a random bishop. He's not my bishop. He's not.
Well, no,
He
no, no.
doesn't
Why
even
not
have a
just,
diocese.
why not
He's
just
a vicar of
mention
the church.
the synod? That way, we're not like doxing you or anything.
Yeah,
Just mention
yeah.
your
Let's
synod.
not dox him. We'll be nice.
No, we don't dox people.
All right,
They dox
can you
us,
name
but we can't dox them.
can you name an active? I'm not talking about retired. An active heretical bishop within Rokor.
Yeah. Well, if you think TO are schismatics and heretics, Bishop Luke, for instance, Bishop Gabriel, Bishop Arene, you have retired the Bishop Metropolitan Jonah, who says Saint Francis of Assisi. He thinks Margaret
Yeah.
Barker.
I
is
said
spiritual to
active.
the
I said
Bible.
active, and he was
Okay.
never actually an active bishop in Rokor.
He's
Okay,
retired, but he's very active.
I just
gotta pause.
okay.
I have to pause. We got another donation. Thank you so much, Leonidas, for helping out, for helping the channel. Will you be addressing the 2022 BOSVR split and SFigmento breaking commune with GOCK in 2022? I can, God willing, we will have a show on Thursday, but I can't do it tonight because we're probably
I'll join
way
in with
over
you on
time.
that.
I'd be glad to if you do,
Yeah,
if you would. Yeah,
definitely.
we should
And
start around
Bishop,
8:30 on Thursday. So yeah.
Bishop
Yeah.
Irene actually got in trouble with let's see, which nativity message was it? Where he was actually, they called him a Pelagian, so he got real quiet for a while. So
Well, if you're talking about like the Latinizing like PSA maxers, then yeah, maybe some of those people got mad at him, but I haven't seen anything concrete.
Is
clerics were actually coming after him. So I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
yeah, if he
Okay.
doesn't believe in original
And then
sin,
Bishop Luke is always
clearly a heretic.
he's controversial because he's a little too friendly with the GOC. So
Okay, so because he has
yeah.
nostalgia and he has and that's
sounds
not even
good.
a heretical view per se. It's
let
just
me
a
ask you a
regular
question.
view.
If Bishop Luke, let's just say secretly or covertly celebrated with somebody in the GOC.
Yeah, then that would be a different story, but that's not happened.
Oh, really?
No, it hasn't. You need to substantiate that.
So if he's been in, let's say he's within the same church as somebody celebrating the divine liturgy, and they're with the GOC, would that be problematic for you?
If he's in like the same actual church as them,
And he's vested.
I don't know. It would really depend on what the context. Yeah, it would, because you literally had Monophysites celebrating at Jordanville under Archbishop of Verkey. So
that was Archbishop of Verkey lent them a basement. They had to clean the whole thing. We know that controversy.
Yeah, they had to reconsecrate.
Also,
so you would need to look at the context very closely.
Yeah, well, the context there wasn't joint celebration. He felt bad for the Monophysites, and it horrified the rest of the synod.
Yeah, he got reprimanded.
They used the building when no one was present.
I'm gonna give an example, right?
He was censured. He was censured.
Just say in any of your churches. Hang on. Just in any of your churches, right? You have a synod of bishops. Say you have 12 bishops, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them's teaching some things that are heretical. Would you say if the synod doesn't deal with that bishop, the synod falls?
I would say that the synod is sanctioning. They'd be sanctioning the wrongdoing.
So, I'll give you an example of Rokor, right? Bishop Leonti of Chile thought Roman Catholics had grace until Vatican II, and he was never deposed. He was never dealt with. Would you say Rokor should have dealt with him and deposed him?
Well, usually what happens is they offer him an opportunity to be corrected.
Yeah, it never happened.
And if he doesn't offer repentance, then they're obligated to
depose him.
Sure, but these things never happened.
Actually, it does happen. Like in all the ecumenical councils, when they brought
that's cool with the ecumenical councils, but Rokor never deposed or did anything with Lamptey of Chile, Bishop Lamptey of Chile's view that Roman Catholics had grace until Vatican II, and that he even said he was talking.
I'd like to see evidence that.
Yeah, that's kind of breaking news to me. I've read a lot about
Yeah.
it.
But Leonidas with a member chat says, "What Archbishop of Verki lent a basement to Monophysites?" Seraphim Webster does explain Archbishop of Verki was not vested. He didn't concelebrate. He was rebuked for loaning out the basement for the Monophysites.
He was more than rebuked. He was censured for a bit.
Yeah. So he that was not how you presented it, but continue.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and this is a historical thing. I forget exactly who he was talking to. I can pull it up real quick, but he was basically talking to someone where he said, "Ooh, Your Grace, would you be okay with whoever going to a Roman Catholic church receiving the Eucharist?" And he's like, today I wouldn't say so because of the very nature of Vatican II, but before Vatican II, he has essentially said that he thought they
Essentially,
were.
I want the quote.
I'm paraphrasing.
Oh,
You've done a bunch of paraphrasing tonight.
Also,
The only thing
like,
I've seen is that letter from Father Seraphim, and even that you interpreted it in an erroneous way because Father corrected you.
He said they were in communion. I don't see how I'm interpreting there.
But he already,
I show you that like just 2 weeks before he said some bishops were, some bishops weren't.
Yeah. Yeah, there were disobedient bishops and clerics during the whole history of Rocor. There's some that would unofficially concelebrate. And I mean, unfortunately, not everything was enforced the way it should have been. And that's part of the troublesome history of Rocor. But if you would actually read the whole history of Rocor, you probably know that. You need to read that book that Father told you, okay?
Yeah, Rocor doesn't have perfect history, neither does any synod, is my point.
No, of course not. History's messy. But
yeah, I think that's true.
Still,
we can
still doesn't justify heresy.
Right? Okay, hold on.
So affirming Roman Catholics have grace would be justifying heresy if you don't oppose them.
So affirming assertions based on nothing is accurate?
Okay, a Seraphim Webster with 1,000, I don't know what that is.
Rupees.
Is it rupees?
No, it's yen. It's yen, Japanese yen.
Oh, it's Japanese yen. Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you for helping the channel. So many people think they can dunk on the floor night position by posting out of context pictures or instances, thinking it's akin to being a dues-paying member of the WCC or the new calendar. Yes, you are in Japan. Okay, so I'm not. I think that I don't know how that translates, but I'm going to add that to the.
I'm curious. What is the conversion rate?
I think it's something like 60 to 1. That's $6.50 US.
Yeah, $7 about.
Yeah, just about $7.
I'm not familiar with that currency. I need to start going over there more.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for helping keep the lights on from Japan. We really appreciate that. And let me add that on.
I would say the WCC participation, even though I do not approve of it.
It's heretical.
They signed the 1950 Toronto Statement, which is an ecumenist.
You're worried about a statement of Bishop Leon or Archbishop Leonti, yet you're in communion with people that are part of the WCC.
Well, he doesn't want to say where.
The 1950.
He already did.
Oh, he
did. 1950 Toronto Statement is not ecumenist.
Are you in the OCA then, or what's he in?
I think he was implying he's part of the Rocor Synod.
Oh, okay, Rocor MP. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that Rocor. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that mysteriously didn't fall under its anathemas 20 years ago, even though.
Yeah, it did. You need to listen to the deposition.
It did, and they admitted
racist heretics.
They admitted it.
Bishop Gabriel in his deposition admitted they fell under their own anathema. So why should we?
And it's in the act of canonical communion. Go read it.
So because a bishop doesn't understand.
No. Go read the act of canonical communion.
Yeah, it's taught. The previous declarations are referring to Rocor not recognizing the OCA, Rocor not recognizing the.
It doesn't say that. It says all.
Again,
Bishop Hall.
Bishop Hall. Yeah, against CMP. The specifically the anathema against ecumenism is an anathematizing branch theory, and those who basically teach branch theory.
You need to actually listen to what the people are saying because they're telling you what they mean. You need to go listen to that.
So when the
this
anathema
video-
says those who
I will-
teach that the
Here.
church is
Jacob,
invisible or consists
Jacob.
of branches is not considered.
Jacob,
False.
I normally put up only super chats and member chats, but this one's important to the topic, so I'm going to put this up. The World Council of Churches is our common home for us, and the fact that the Orthodox perceive it as their home and want this home to be the cradle of the coming unified church, spoken by Metropolitan Kirill, now Patriarch Kirill of Moscow, during his address at the 7th Assembly of the World Council of Churches in February of 1991.
Again, I don't hold the same view of you that.
No. This is Patriarch Kirill, the head of your church. The World Council.
Yeah,
of
we don't
Churches
think
is
of them
our
as
common-
popes.
Okay, this is
Oh,
okay.
Oh, you're an idiot.
No,
Sorry, dude.
Okay, that's a
idiot.
great argument.
It's just this is basically Jay Dyer's.
Well,
we're not.
You're just an
we
ortho,
don't
bro.
recognize what
It's just an ortho, bro.
So if a bishop says something that's wrong or heretical, that automatically means they're no longer a bishop.
He literally said that the World Council of Churches will be the future home of the unified
church,
for
which
all
means
of the other religions.
yes.
Yeah, and you
I
can
mean-
also look at the MP's 2000 encyclical that condemns branch theory.
It doesn't condemn branch
You
theory.
have to-
No,
I can show you the exact statement where it says
Do it because guess what?
Okay.
We poured over that a
Okay,
million
if they-
times. It's
I mean,
not
let's
as
even
strong
grant-
as condemnation. It's more like we recognize that the church is the one church.
Well, that's irrelevant. They never condemned Sergianism.
Well, what's interesting is that even if they did, they fall under their own condemnation because they're the World Council
Exactly.
of Churches. And also,
Sure,
why?
Yeah, so
If they really
can I
if
share
they really
it?
deny the World Council of Churches,
Sure,
why
go
do
for
they
it,
say in the
share
same
it.
council that
Yeah,
you're not
so-
allowed to convert Roman Catholics?
the 1950 Toronto Statement does not have its own ecclesiology, is my argument. It has an ambiguous
1950
statement
Toronto-
saying that we are not forming a super mega church. That's
Right,
literally
Did
what
you
the
not hear what the
1950
Metropolitan, now Patriarch, said?
Yeah, the 1950 statement was 76 years ago. It's gone a long way since then.
That's the statement that the church holds to.
Mm-mm.
Actually,
No,
no, they
it
A
is.
bunch
updated
of
it.
other statements. That's
They
not true.
updated it. They have a.
How about
Yeah,
Father-
they
Father,
updated it, but nobody.
Father,
You
hold
have
on.
to substantiate
Hold on,
where,
Jacob.
where they
Father, read that
accepted the
again.
update.
Read that again. Read it one more time, real slow.
What, Cradle of the Coming Unified Church thing? Or-
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll do it again. The World
Slowly,
Council of Churches
slowly.
is our common.
And again, you think I hold this ecclesiology?
Shut your
that
mouth.
if a
Listen to
bishop
Father.
says something
Let him read
crazy,
it
that
so
I
we can hear
automatically
it.
think he's no longer a
So
graceful
please be
bishop.
quiet.
Jacob, be quiet. Mute him, Father.
Everybody.
Once again, the World Council of Churches is our common home for us, and the fact that the Orthodox perceive it as their home and want this home to be the cradle of the coming unified church.
Well, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to say
That's your
it anyway.
patriarch.
The reality is, whether you like it or not,
If my
Because-
patriarch said that,
the office is not dependent on whether or not the bishop teaches heresy or not. He has more
Yeah,
grace and is more canonical than any of your churches that have no grace.
I'll tell
Based
you,
on what?
one of our
Based off what St. Nicodemus
Metropolitan-
teaches about the episcopacy.
Okay, Jacob, shut up.
No, that's not what he said.
If one of our bishops said that, we would leave because that's what you're supposed to do according to canon.
And that's why you have over 50 groups.
That's
we
why
have over
you.
50 groups
That's why you
because we're
follow
our-
a former KGB agent, or probably current KGB
I
agent.
don't follow him.
Darn.
Yes, you do. He's your.
He's your patriarch.
They should have condemned St. Basil and St. Athanasius. They just broke into random groups, man. Those freaking.
So conflating.
You got to
Wait a
condemn
minute,
that St. John
non-commemoration.
Chrysostom. He went into schism too.
Sarah from Webster was
No,
another-
he was
with another-
uncanonically removed, and he didn't accept it.
Sarah from Webster with another donation of 1,000 yen. Ask Jacob what the purpose of having bishops are if the laity seemingly reject all their teachings and hand wave them as not infallible in case they disagree, and as orthodox in cases they do.
Well, Jacobs is an Orthodox Presbyterian. He doesn't care.
Yeah, not
Well,
all
I'd
the
like
bishops.
Jacob to
Well,
answer the
not all the
question.
bishops teach the things you're saying, so that's one point.
What's Jacob's?
You couldn't even list
denomination?
a
What if
single
Father
bishop
hey,
that
what? Hold on.
definitively
What
taught
Father
anything
Boniface?
heresy
What?
in Rollcore,
Yeah.
for example.
Let
What's
Father
Jacob's
Boniface
affiliation?
he's
Rollcore
Rollcore
MD.
MD.
Oh, okay.
I know, bless his heart.
Yeah, so you can't even list a bishop that is teaching heresy bareheaded. You can't list some ambiguous statement by Bishop Irenae and say, well, he's definitively teaching something.
So how about
We
Alexander?
both
They
know
don't say
for a
anything
fact it
about
has to be
anything.
bareheaded.
They
Jacob.
drag their feet to take forever to get rid of Sister Vasa, right? Remember when
Okay,
she was
that's not-
preaching? Remember when she was supporting that homosexual kid?
That
And say,
one's
go.
free. I'm letting that one in free.
Okay, sometimes things take time.
It's been 100 years, Jacob.
And how long did the Arian crisis last?
Oh, it lasted a good long time. It lasted about 400 years. And guess what those who weren't under the Arians did? They separated and they were under Orthodox bishops, just like us, which means that perhaps if it takes 300 years, we'll be in charge of the rest of the Orthodox Church again. And we won't use the term true Orthodox because the ecumenists will finally not exist.
Just like the Arians.
So you're predicating time based off if a church is fallen because there's heresies going on within
the church.
within a
Never
church.
falls. The church never falls. That
Well,
is
your view of a
even during
false
the time
church
of
is
the
fallen
Arians,
because there's certain things that bishops are going against the confession of faith for.
This is the problem that you have, is that you presuppose that we think your ecumenist church is the church. We don't.
Well, whatever you want to call it, the false church.
he has to insert
Wait,
it.
all right, let's establish something. At what point does this quote unquote false church become the false church? And if you can't give me that answer, then
When
you
they
have a big
proclaim
problem.
When it separates from the true church.
Yeah.
So in 1924, they ceased to be the church.
Mm-hmm. Not what I said.
So,
one could make that argument for Constantinople, but do you know that document even wasn't even known to a number of fathers on Mount Athos for about 15 years? And once they found out about it, they joined the Zealot cause.
Didn't
Also,
say Tikon. See, Tikon gave it an ukaz.
There's a ecclesiastical journal in Alexandria.
So there's just
It's
an
called
ambiguous
Tinus, and
grace
they're saying
period
they all
until
have a communion with-
people supposedly find out about something.
Come again?
So there's an ambiguous grace period until people find out about something.
If heresy is not publicly proclaimed and known, then there's
Well,
no way.
it was pretty publicly proclaimed. Whether or not certain people knew about it is a different story.
Well, if they didn't know about it, they couldn't do anything about it.
So that's not necessarily reflective.
But once they did know about it, they started doing things about it.
Not always.
Yeah, always.
That's presuppositional.
Name a period. No, don't say presuppositional. Here, you know what presuppositional is? Tradition. So point to tradition before the ecumenist heresy, where it happened, like you said.
Well, apparently, since you believe the calendar is a dogma, let's talk about.
Don't change the subject, Jacob.
Well, we're talking about heresy. I'm talking about heretical calendars that were in the church.
Calendar is a symptom of ecumenism.
Hey, I'm signing off, guys. You have a good night.
Okay,
Father.
Father. Okay, let me put it to you this way, and I'm going to just say this again. You claimed that there was precedent. I want you to establish that precedent. You decided to change the subject, and I'm not going to let you do that.
Precedent on what?
You said there was precedent where heresy could be tolerated administratively if it was unknown, etc. And I want to know what your precedent is.
Well, I'll give you an example. Was it tolerated?
I know what it is.
Hang on. What exactly are you arguing? That if someone isn't aware of a heresy, they're not responsible for the heresy?
No, I'm trying to get where
we're trying to sort through your confusion.
You said there was a precedent.
I'm saying it's a heresy regardless if the people are aware of it or not.
No, that's not how it works.
Okay,
yes, it is, because the Church of Greece had knowledge.
What'd you say, Father?
I was just saying people saying goodnight to Father Boniface.
Yeah, the people of Greece actually were non-commemorators, and a lot of priests and archpriests actually severed communion.
And the Athenites came down to serve them, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and actually, there's some Athonite monasteries that did, when they found out, they actually did become non-commemorators. And Esphigmenou actually records this and has it in some of their archives that they were actually lied to by new calendars that they're going to fix it.
No, don't tell them about history. You might actually learn something.
Well, for instance, there's Saint Basil with Bishop Euthanasius of Caesarea. I think it's Euthanasius or Eustachius.
Yeah, non-commemoration.
And
Eusebius.
Eustachius was lying about his confession of faith repeatedly to Saint Basil,
Eustathius.
and then when he started after like 8 years, he started to question Eustachius, but he kept saying that his confession of faith was orthodox. It wasn't until like a couple years later where he actually figured out, what was going on and severed communion. Like Saint Basil isn't at fault. He wasn't tolerating semi-Arianism or anything. He literally was lied to and also wasn't told about it for years. You can't, like, we don't do this with global orthodoxy either. We don't say like you're condemned and you're outside the church and heretics for not knowing something. That's not the argument. The
I'll
argument
ask you a question, right?
mercy.
Because this was a controversy. When did Saint Melentios become a part of the church, or was he always part of the church, in your view?
Saint Melitius, you mean when he was ordained by Arian bishops and then proclaimed orthodoxy?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good example, right?
Yeah, that literally caused a division among the confessing church as to whether he was a bishop or not, which is why Paulinus of Antioch had a separate synod.
And I think I could guess what side you guys would be on. You guys would be the people condemning Saint Melentios.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to have been there. A lot of people didn't recognize Paulinus either, and a lot of people didn't recognize Lucifer of Cagliari, and they all had different factions, and there was another faction still. So
I think that's the first time that happened, so I don't know if we can really say.
But all the Orthodox were still the Orthodox, even though they were divided parties. What we could say is none of us were with the Arians.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Saint Melentius was baptized by the Arians validly.
Okay.
We don't have to get into the argument of whether or not Saint Meletius was baptized validly.
I mean, proper form.
Yeah, like we know the Arians.
We don't use valid and invalid. We're not Catholic.
Well, it's not about valid in that sense. I mean, valid in the sense of he was a bishop. It's not just about form.
Now Romagata and Leonidas are talking about the case of Esphigmenou. To understand the situation, one has to understand the New Holy Mountain Fathers of the 1970s, where there were zealot abbots in a number of monasteries, not just Esphigmenou, and the ecumenical patriarch, I believe it was Demetrius at the time, began replacing them with ecumenists, and that's what caused kind of the shrink to Esphigmenou and why Esphigmenou is the biggest monastery.
That's why we have what we have with Vado Petty and Xenophontes and all that.
Well, I remember specifically regarding the calendar and so forth. Metropolitan Anthony Kropovitsky actually had he wrote back and forth with the zealot monk that was basically saying, I believe it was along the lines that those who adopted the new calendar were graceless. And Metropolitan Anthony Kropovitsky rebuked him and said that the calendar does not do this. You can't say because they switched the calendar, even though it was a mistake, that they're now deprived of grace.
He actually said in that letter that it was an error, but he said not to sever communion yet. That's what he was telling him. And in 1934, he called Patriarch Meletius a heretical gang.
Okay, and I would agree with that.
So, Romagata says, question to Father Joseph, is all of Mount Athos mysteries invalid except Esphigmenou? No, I mean, there's also zealot skeets and everything. That there's actually...
Yeah, there's Kellias that are still...
And there are sympathizers to Esphigmenou all over Mount Athos, but they're not in power. So I don't know what I can say who. I mean, I would say that anyone who is non-commemorating the patriarch, who is...
I would stay away from the greater Lavras. I wouldn't do anything with them, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's Kellyas and Skeets there where there's still
There's
Alright,
still a lot of confessors in the Holy Map.
yeah.
All right, so,
But
so
most
let's
of them
get
are
into the
NSVN.
crux of it, right? If you have non-commemorators, right? Would you say non-commemorators, even if they're not inside a TO synod, they're just non-commemorators? Would you say that they're graceless?
No, I would say it's an open question.
Well, I would tend to say they're not graceless because when you're a non-commemorator, you're commemorating all true Orthodox bishops in your prayers.
Correct.
So
Seraphim has a question for Jacob. How many bishops have been deposed for ecumenism in world Orthodoxy if the system is designed to correct its errors?
yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
the issue is
0
right now is
The answer is
in the
0.
past when you've had mass apostasies, you've had a emperor or a czar, where we don't have that right now, and that's when a lot of these issues would be sorted out. So right now would be one of these.
So I guess you
places
don't
where
consider
would
the
say it's an
Palamite
awkward
synods
waiting
anything?
phase.
Actually, at the False Council of Florence, there was no emperor to fix it, and it was fixed. So, also,
Yeah, well-
emperors can only do so much.
you realize the
They
majority
only
of
call an
bishops did
ecumenical
not
council.
side with the papists.
I guess you don't consider the Palamite synods ecumenical either.
Yeah, I don't really care about the arbitrary numbers. The fact is,
How
they're
about the Council of
anti-unionist, doesn't do
1484
anything.
that condemned Florence? There was no
I
emperor.
didn't say you need per se a emperor to have an ecumenical council. I'm saying in order to
What are
deal
you
with
saying?
mass apostasy, when you have a bunch of bishops that are doing heretical things, in order for them to all be deposed, it usually takes
You just leave.
an emperor.
Canon 15. You just leave.
Yeah, Canon 15 teaches non-commemoration is my argument.
No, it teaches you to leave.
Leave.
Go to you
Because even if you stay, you're complicit. You need to read the full canon, buddy.
You didn't answer Seraphim's question, though, which is how many bishops have been deposed for ecumenism in world Orthodoxy if the system is designed to correct its errors?
I helped them. 0.
Oh, I didn't know if he accepted that answer.
You've had cases of bishops that have been forced to basically step down.
Where? Who? Huh?
Yeah, like who? Because the only bishop
Well-
we heard of was that one in Cyprus, and he was actually anti-ecumenism, and they were mad at him for that.
Oh, that's still going on.
Are
I
you
saw an
talking
article
about-
about that.
Are you talking about
Tychicus.
Metropolitan Tychicus?
Tychicus.
Yeah, Tyche, yep.
Apophos, yeah.
That was recent, I believe.
No, that's Cyprus, dude.
Little fish, big mountain says
you're
new
talking about
calendar is
Cyprus?
you can't say we're
Paphos
graceless
is in
heretics. You're
Cyprus.
judging you judgmental graceless heretics.
I am judging him in my mind.
Oh.
It's supposed to be one holy Catholic Church, but it doesn't seem like it's one. It seems like there's multiple different faiths in it, so it's not really one holy Catholic Church.
No,
Well, you
like
have a case
papism.
of, you could say, I
The,
think we would mostly
the world
agree that
Orthodox are
Metropolitan Jonah
Protestants.
is a bad hierarch. He was
That's
basically
unfair. They act more like papists than
he
Protestants.
was basically forced
Yeah,
to
sure.
step down.
He
Nobody
never-
outright said it, but he was basically forced to step down.
Okay.
Yep, he never stepped down.
So
though.
that
He just
and but
remained.
he
He still serves.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still serves as a retired bishop. He's not an active bishop anymore.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Metropolitan Jonah.
And
I thought we were talking
kind
about
of
Oh,
question,
he's a heretic.
how do you know?
yeah, Metropolitan Jonah has a bunch of different weird beliefs.
He follows that. He follows that liberal Protestant.
And he got forced to step down, basically.
And yet they still let him
he was-
teach that
he was
crazy
basically-
temple
Wait,
theology.
you're saying the OCA forced Metropolitan Jonah to step down because of his false teachings? You're absolutely wrong. They forced him to step down because he was trying to get accountability on the finances of the OCA because the previous primate had blown through hundreds of thousands of dollars and had mortgaged some of the church's properties.
A little known secret.
It was actually due to scandals that were going on too.
Yeah, there were sexual scandals going on, and that money
Yeah,
was
I
flying
just
around,
wanted to
being
be careful with
stolen
the
from
words
the
and actually
church.
what I could
Yeah,
say
so
on the stream.
Also,
yeah, but the whole
Anger
thing is
management issues.
Jonah,
understand
besides
they
for his
deposed
heri- all
Jonah.
his-
They deposed Jonah, or they forced him down, which I don't think the synod ever made a synodal statement on. But they don't do a bishop who's preaching that origin is based in trad, and also they have like a monastery where they put up mosaics of Francis of Assisi.
Oh, that's
and-
Newskeet. They still have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have one of
Wait, Seraphim Webster with another 1,000 yen. Thank you so much.
Jonah,
Yeah, I
Jonah was
mean-
affiliate with New Speak.
I don't think
Jacob, I have to
Francis
read.
Assisi is-
I read the super chats.
Sorry.
So the issue is that there's no accountability in world orthodoxy due to the absence of a SAR. Could a potential fix be a synod of true confessing bishops to preserve the faiths in the absence of one? Absolutely, yes.
We
that
got
is
you.
And you still haven't substantiated any concrete evidence of synods of bishops that don't teach heresy. You cannot make an ambiguous quote from Bishop Irenae and say, "Oh, the whole synod's cooked because he said one thing that's ambiguous."
Well,
Oh
you
no,
just saying
we say the whole synod's because they joined the MP.
Yeah, because they joined the MP. But I'm just saying you were asking for one specific bishop that might be
Saint
preaching.
John commemorated Alexei I when it was literally Sergianist.
We went through this. We went through this. already.
No, I'm not talking about the 1950 thing. He told a layman privately that he commemorates.
Okay, you don't have public evidence that it's some random Soviet layman. Stop.
It wasn't even a. It wasn't even.
So you're just repeating
It
Soviet
wasn't even an
propaganda.
MP
Good
like
job.
He's just doing Soviet propaganda.
You're doing a Father John Wyford. Good job.
It was a Serbian. It was not a MP.
Oh, a Serbian Soviet. Okay.
Oh, Serbian Soviet. Okay, okay.
Roma Gata says, question, pages 519.522. Catacomb martyrs saints. What are they right? What they wrote means nothing. No, the early part of the Catacomb Church had to deal with the difficulty of the question of Sergianism, and that was something that passed throughout the Catacomb Church, even up to the 1940s, and even in some cases with some catacomb bodies in the 1960s.
You do know Russians
the Catacomb Church wasn't a monolith. I mean, a lot of catacomnics believe different things.
Not really. They're pretty
No.
You had name worshiping catacomnics. I mean,
no, I believe the name worshippers kind of threw that.
Wow,
in there
that was actually not a catacomnic thing. That was a Soviet influenced church thing.
And then the new Luriites, the Luriite name worshippers tried to say the catacomb.
You do not know history, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just reject history and say no, it's not true, then yeah, I guess I don't.
I mean, you can actually read documents.
You can see the propaganda forming.
There is Soviet church propaganda.
It's not about rejecting history, it's just about rejecting vague appeals to assumptions.
You do know who the renovationists are, right?
You can say a few things vocally, like we understand general history.
Yeah, it's TOs most of the time.
That's an accusation, and it's false.
Renovationists,
like Rokor never had communion with
quote-unquote
world orthodoxy.
What is a renovationist?
What is a renovationist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant revisionist. Well, a renovationist is different.
What is it?
A renovation?
So what is it?
What's a renovationist?
Yes. Since you know the history of the Russian church, go for it.
People that distort the truth, right?
Well, they renovated the traditional views of the church. In the case of the Soviet Living Church, they began renovating things like marriage.
The Living Church was not the true church.
The Living Church was. Here's the problem that you have with that: the Living Church legally was the predecessor of the Moscow Patriarchate,
and they were endorsed by the Patriarch of Constantinople.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
So that's why we say
because one
Rokor was not in.
Them, that means that's automatically true.
Rokor was not in communion with Constantinople. You know why? Because Constantinople endorsed the renovationists.
Yeah, that wasn't the case in the 70s though, and the 60s.
Oh my God!
I know you keep doing a circle when we explain it over and over. It just seems like you ran out of talking.
There's different periods of time, right?
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, there are.
So you can't conflate one period of time as the same thing in a completely different decade.
Hey Jacob, can I ask you a personal question?
True, but you actually need to provide us like evidence and explain, instead of
Jacob,
saying time.
What's that?
Can I ask you a personal question?
What's that?
How old are you?
Why does that matter?
I'm just curious.
I'm 18.
You're what?
18, he said.
18.
So none of these. You haven't experienced.
So you were born in 2008 or 2007 or 2008?
2007. Yeah.
So you were born when the Rocor became the Rocor MP.
Well, you could really say
This is hilarious.
you could really say they were basically aligned with Moscow a few
No, they
years
weren't.
earlier, but
In
sure.
2007, they literally united with the MP.
Yeah, the act of canonical communion
wait,
was May
hold up.
17th, right?
When were you born
Yeah.
in 2007?
May 17th. I don't
When
think
was
we
I
really need
born
to
in
ask.
2000?
Yeah.
We don't really need
Why
to
is
ask
this
him
relevant?
what
I don't
time.
get your
I'm
point.
just curious.
Because you've lived in your entire world is based around one where the Rocor was always united in your eyes to the MP.
Yeah, but you can look at synodal documents from 50, 60 years ago.
You can, but people just don't do
Yeah,
that.
but
Welcome, Nectarios.
some of us actually lived through the history.
Hello.
Go ahead.
A blessing, a blessing, a blessing.
May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, Nectarios.
So you're saying that just because, I was born in 2007, I can't look at documents from 40, 50 years ago.
Well, I'm saying you can look at documents, but some of us have lived through the history.
And so you can get a certain bias.
So you could get a
editing.
Yeah.
What bias do I
trying to
have?
say-
I'm not even born Orthodox. I'm a gun.
What he's trying to say.
Oh, I know.
What he's trying to say is that you're very young and your discernment is off. Like,
Well,
So
no,
because
not necessarily
I'm,
that.
because
I'm
I'm
just saying
young
your
and I didn't
book.
live in the Soviet Union, I automatically can't read synodal documents and I can't understand the context from
I wouldn't say that. What I'm saying is you don't have a lived experience of some of the troubles that some of
And also,
the
I
rest
would
of us
ask, how
went
old
through.
are all of you? Did you guys live in the Soviet Union?
No.
I did live in Russia, actually. Yes.
I
Well,
lived in Russia also
father
for
did
2
too. I
years,
didn't.
but it was after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Okay, so what's the difference there?
At this point, not much, because Putin has basically kind of brought it back to a kind of pro-Soviet sort of thinking.
It's Soviet with a
I'd
Christian
agree.
veneer.
There's a mentality there. I'm not going to act like there's no mentality there, but you cannot compare the persecutions.
Oh yes, I
As the
can.
Soviet
I
Union.
when I lived in Russia, I went to ROAC churches that were literally taken by the state 2 years after I left. So yeah, I kind of can.
And he actually
So
talked to
you're talking
catacomnics.
about a few churches, which I'm not saying this is okay.
They
There's
took
millions
all
of
of
people
it
that
by-
got killed.
And first off, the millions of people that got killed occurred in the early part of the persecution, but then there was also overt persecution. There have been people who died for their opposition to the MP in the 90s and later. And more importantly, it was not a few churches. They literally confiscated all of ROAC's churches by 2019.
Yeah, the Free Russian Church is still persecuted.
Yeah. But
AK.
again,
Yeah.
my point is most of the persecutions you see happened very early on. So
Yeah,
you
but
can't really
you're
compare
not
the two.
addressing the point that the catacomnics did not en masse unite with
Did you
Moscow
guys live
Actually-
in like 1920s, 30s, and like early 40s Russia?
Actually, in Rocor MP, there's a priest. His name is Father Seraphim in Texas, and he has a website. And actually, he actually shows on his website where there was actually Rocor priests who got killed in the 90s. So
Yeah,
it's
and
not,
jailed.
The persecution didn't just end in the 30s.
Yeah, like Father Alexander
MP
Zhirkov and
I didn't say
MP
I didn't say it ended. I said it got substantially lowered.
oh, good. So it's only a few.
Just a
killings
little
year
bit of
now.
persecution versus mass.
But
Okay.
Yeah,
when did I
it-
say it was good?
I don't know. Why are you arguing like it matters if they're persecuted a lot or not as much? Like, what's the point you're trying to make with it?
It was just a
Because
little
whether
bit.
people like it or not, you can say it's a facade. It doesn't
It is a
matter if it's a
facade.
facade or not. There was a change that happened between the time within Moscow, between December of 1991 and May 17th of 2007. And it was not just, the Soviet Union changed its name. There were actual differences there.
When was the Moscow Patriarchate established?
And people can make
When
this
was it
argument that
established?
what's that?
Stalin established it in 1943. That's the answer.
Established
The Moscow Patriarchate, and literally said, if you have a patriarch, it will be by our hands.
No, I'm pretty sure the Russian Council of 1918 brought back the Moscow Patriarch.
No, it brought back the patriarch
And they murdered him.
Ivan. They killed him. There was no patriarch until 1943.
And guess who the first one was?
So I guess.
Yes, but
And then
I'm
Alexei 1
saying,
and Alexei 2.
yes, but
Oh.
I'm saying the
There you
Patriarchate got established back from 1918. The fact that there wasn't
Jacob,
a patriarch
did you
during
hear
that
me?
time until the 40s
I
was
don't
due to
understand.
persecution.
I don't understand.
Jacob,
I don't
Jacob,
understand
did you
why
hear
is
me?
you saying this.
Jacob, listen.
But I didn't bring it up.
Who was the first patriarch of the Moscow Patriarchate?
I didn't bring up the Soviet Union.
I'm just asking who was the first patriarchate who
It
was the
was,
first
I
patriarch?
believe, it was Father Joseph who brought it up when we were talking about.
Do you know who
No,
Father
it
Joseph's
was Rita
patron
John
saint
who
is?
brought it up by trying to make an argument that because I was born in 2007 and I didn't experience
I'm just saying
Sovietism,
you don't have lived
that's somehow
experience of
relevant to
within the
having this.
church enough. That's my point. There's book smart and then there's experience. Okay,
Yeah, but
that's the only point I was making.
The argument was about how the MP is compromised and it's Sergianist. That was the topic. And you brought up persecution, and it's not as bad today as it is back then, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which is true, but also Sergianism, according to Rollcor's own definition, does not include this idea of just you're persecuting the church. It has this to be this idea that you're cooperating with an atheistic government that no longer exists.
Well, the government's not orthodox and it's secular, and it's the state working with them. And
Well,
there's a
you
little
can-
more. There's a little more to it. Like there was also like photos of priests getting KGB or not KGB FSB awards for their work on spying as well. And there's also times where priests, like for instance, there's a priest in Moscow, and he prayed for Alexei Navalny, and the next day, a bunch of police officers came to arrest him, and they didn't even say what he was arrested for, and there was never a follow up. And then the MP decided that they would defrock him.
Oh, and guess what? What
Yeah,
happens if you
and I'm
speak
not
out against the
saying-
war?
There aren't tendencies like this that still happen. I'm saying, in terms of, you can make a case, for example, like you can say like, oh, the spirit of Sergianism still lives on, but that's not
Oh, it
still
does.
the definition Rokor even gave of what Sergianism is. There is no atheistic government anymore.
What is
There's
liberal
no
democracy?
communism anymore.
Well,
These
liberal
things-
democracy is secular atheism.
Okay, they don't have a czar. There's still major issues with Russia. They're not going to have a proper
Okay, but
government without
that's not the point.
monarchist
Just because you don't have a czar doesn't mean that automatically your church is Sergianist. Like,
Well, my argument is they
Sergianism is
aren't
very
Sergianist
specific.
in the proper definition of the word anymore.
Well, they're serving a secular atheistic state, and they're actively doing so and defrocking their own clergy if it speaks out against it.
I wouldn't say.
And they're also
the current
persecuting
state's
true Orthodox.
atheistics. I would say it's heretical.
They're also persecuting true Orthodox.
Again, I'm not.
And the leader of their government's a perennialist. So
The current government, it's not atheistic per se. It's just not good. It teaches heretical things. And it still does have sort of this
Still godless authorities.
mentality from like 30 years ago, but
if
that's
you're
just
heretical,
the
then
nature of having, the Soviet Union, be basically prominent in Russia for pretty much a generation. You don't just heal from that overnight.
Couple
It takes
generations.
years.
I'm not sure what the point is, because like a church could easily just condemn it and just cease all cooperation. So Maybe it may take a year or something, okay, but like it's been over 30.
Yeah, again, Russia. Like, I'm not making this case for like Holy Russia. I don't think that's going to really
Yeah,
exist without a
it's
czar.
it's fine, but the argument's more on
Oh,
NP
man.
and the relation between the states.
I hope you don't use a newer Jordanville
Yeah, and I
prayer
would
book.
say
Then.
that relation is still not good. It's not where it should be, but it is not necessarily comparable to what it was. I mean, even during the Soviet Union, you can even see like there are a lot more people that, even if you want to say, oh, it's cultural, just the idea that cultural orthodoxy is going back from the point that there was like 30% Orthodox in like during the Soviet Union. Now it's like 70% identify as Orthodox. It's a big difference.
Yeah, but not many of them
I,
attend.
I get that, but like I don't know what the exact point of that is. Like they're joining a heretical synod. Okay. I don't know what you want to say.
The mentalities change whether people like it or not. It's not the same entity.
I bet you would really like their military.
And I'm not even pro Russia per se. Maybe politically you could say sort of.
You like their military
But in
church
terms
they
of
built?
like the way that the Church of Russia has been functioning, I'm not pro Russia. That's not my argument.
Yeah,
And I
but
don't see how this is relevant.
Do you like the
Yeah, I get you, but we're talking about
What
the MP's
exactly-
relation with the states.
Again, I
Well,
don't
what
think
exactly
it's
are
a
we
good
trying to like argue and
relationship,
debate
but
about?
my
here?
argument is it's not an atheistic
I'm sorry, what did you say,
government.
Nectarios? What did
Well,
Nectario say?
Well, he says, what are
I
we
was saying,
talking
what
about?
exactly is the argument or debate?
I have no idea at this point.
Oh, Jacob keeps
Yeah,
shifting
actually, you know what?
subjects.
Jacob, look. First off, I was hoping that Seraphim would make it, on before this, but it's already 12:18 where I am. Like it's past midnight, and it's not. If you want to come back and you want to continue this, and I think people will, that's fine. I don't feel much was kind of established here, but I think we all learned a little bit. But I am gonna have to, and I'm sorry, Seraphim, but it's I was kind of hoping you would have been here earlier because I know he wanted to come on, but I gotta shut down the stream because it's past midnight. It's not. This is. I can't keep it up.
I need a nap.
So, Jacob, you're welcome to come back. I prefer this to, spamming the chat.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but the other night I was not saying that the new martyrs are graceless. God forbid.
Okay, good.
That would be heretical.
That would be satanic.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
we agree
hoping
on
that was
something.
just a misunderstanding because that was not what I was saying was graceless.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Leonidas says, what did Nectarius want to say? I mean, if you had something you wanted to, I know that it's been confusing the whole evening. Nectarius?
No, I just kind of wondered about
Can't hear you, Nectarius.
Saint Seraph. Oh, sorry, I think it's my internet. I'm in like a hotel in Thessaloniki. But I wondered about the views of Saint Seraphim of Rose, really, where he talks about having communion with other churches, and when he talks about not being graceless, and you've kind of got Saint Philip in New York who thinks they are.
I highly recommend. I would highly recommend. I'm going to put this in the public chat if you want to know more about the thoughts of Father Seraphim Rose. They are available. The letters are available free online. So I will put that link there. And I'm gonna have to just I'm gonna kind of have to close the stream. Thank you to everyone for participating. Thank you for everyone, for our guests, to Austrian Orthodoxy reader John Jacob Clint's Father Boniface, even though he had to go to bed, he's always a support here for the channel. For those who had questions and had comments, and to those who support our mission, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net or on Give, Send, Go. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to, if this helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe. So I'm going to get going through the prayers of Holy Fathers, so Jesus Christ, God have mercy on us and save us. God bless you, and have a good night, everyone.